of the round stage. They're heading towards finals day this Saturday at Derby. There will be, for the first time ever, 2 semi-finals and a final. So the way that it ends today in the top 4, first will play fourth, second will play third for the semi-finals. So those spots are still up for grabs. We know which 4 teams are going to be in it, but in which order that they finish, we're going to find out today. You're listening to the voice of Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire player. You're about to hear the voice of Barbara Daniels, former England and World Cup winner. You're also going to hear the voice of Georgia Ralph from Leicestershire, who's an opening batter for Leicestershire, and Mike Perkins. So the news from the toss is that Sparks won the toss and have elected to bat first. If you want to join in on social media, this is for Sparks, they will be Sparks Will Fly as a hashtag, and for Blaze, that's Fired Up. So in recent games, it was a very exciting game here against the Vipers, but Central Sparks beat them by 5 wickets and also winning a bonus point. So they bowled well after winning the toss, and they took the catches and a run out on that game against the Vipers, who were England stacked, I have to say, at Worcester at that game. Meanwhile, Blaze took their only defeat of the Charlotte Edwards Cup against Stars on Sunday, where they lost by 5 wickets in a low-scoring game, and Blaze were all out for 84 at Derby, so some changes of fortune for the team now. I think it was their first loss in this season. The teams will line up: Central Sparks, Abby Freeborn, Davina Perrin, Amy Jones, Eve Jones, back from precautionary concussion break as captain, Webb, George, Pavley, Arlott, Georgia Davis, Potts and Baker, and the Blaze will be Marie Kelly, Teresa Graves, Bryce, 2 Bryces, Heather Graham, the Australian import, Ella Claridge, Sarah Glenn, Josie Groves, Kirsty Gordon, Lucy Hyam and Grace Ballinger. The umpires today are Sue Redfern and Gabby Brown. I think this may be the first time 2 females have stood in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. That stands to be corrected if I'm wrong. And the scorers today are MD Smith and C Credgington. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you very much. That was a big old start,
It
wasn't
was a big old start. I've run out of words now. You'll have to carry on.
No, it's great to be back here again. And a lovely sunny day with a group of school children making lots of great noise, so that's always brilliant. With the Blaze just running onto the pitch now, so looking forward to a really good game.
Yeah, it should be a good game. So the order of the pack at the end, there is some jockeying for position with the table, and the Blaze are at the top with 35 points. Stars chasing them at 34. Sparks on 26 because they got that bonus point against the Vipers, and Vipers on 21. So Blaze and Sparks can't improve their positions, but the results today and Stars and Vipers, which is the other game, although there are 4 other games, but the other game that will have an impact on finals day happening today. So let me just take you around those. So at Chelmsford, Sunrisers are taking on Western Storm. At Chesterley Street, Northern Diamonds are taking on Thunder. And down at Hove, Southern Vipers are playing South East Stars, and that's going to impact in the way that they fall today, Barbara.
Yeah, well, no, that's great actually, isn't it? That there's still interest in the fight in these matches, making sure what happens on finals day. So although they're not dead rubbers, so to speak, so it's brilliant that those things are still to play for. And then finals day very, very rapidly following.
Yeah, so it is a sort of rapid fire, as you say, sort of beginning, middle and end. It comes neatly together.
Yeah.
So we've got Ballinger to start from our end, from the 25-yard circle in. Ponytail flying to Perrin. Comes forward, hits that back. Ooh, so it's a crowd catch there. Barbara mentioned, so they did this last year at Central Sparks. I was explaining to Barbara earlier that they bust in a load of school kids, and they are below us. We can't quite see them this year, but they're below us. They're getting wound up by Carmen Bear, who is the resident mascot here for the women's. They're getting wound up down there. So they're going to create a lovely hubble of noise, I think, in the background. They had a great time last year. Shearing as the bowler comes in. Ooh, past the edge of the bat. They're getting very excited. They're going to be worn out, aren't they?
They are. They might have to pace themselves a little. But But we'll see. But that was a good ball. That was a good ball from Ballinger, beating the outside edge.
They cheered everything, but I heard Emily Arlott over this morning over the balcony. She was saying they even cheered when Diamond won last year. I think they were just excited to be here because they'll get lots of signatures and selfies, no doubt, with the players after. And how brilliant a memory that will be when they look back on that as Ballinger comes into Perrin.
She's done her again.
She has done her again. Yes.
She's just pushing that across the right-hander there. I haven't seen much of Ballinger bowling, but whether she gets the one to come back into the right-hander. But yes, I don't want her to get Perrin out because I'm very much looking forward to seeing her.
She batted well at Worcester.
Yeah.
And lots of intentional, funky shots. She played one shot up and over the keeper.
Did she?
A very early decision to make a great job up and over her shoulder. There's lots of invention. So, what's she got for in response to Ballinger? Oh, talking of funky, it's not working, that one.
Gosh,
How would you describe that one then, Barbara? Sort of rampy.
Well, she was definitely trying
switching.
to ramp. I would say, much as I'm excited about seeing her, and I think she's a really interesting, exciting player, you've still got to give yourself a chance to get in. That's 3 balls in. But just, I think that's just nervousness from having been beaten twice. But you'd like to see her, I think, just getting into line and let's just get the strike rotated for a bit. But then I sound like, boring old player.
We'll try and be a bit less boring. How's that? Ballinger comes into Perrin, who smacks it on his head, and again we've got a crowd catch because it went straight into the ground, and Ballinger collects.
It's a very tidy over so far, isn't it? Because
It
she's
is.
not just accurate, but she's beaten her, and plainly Perrin not looking hugely comfortable yet.
See, Ballinger's got very interesting action. There's lots of everything's moving.
Yes.
And when they used to be Loughborough Lightning, she in those large ankled trousers, even that was waving in the wind as she runs away from us to Perrin. Again, down in the ground, straight to the fielder, and there is no run. It's tidy over, wasn't it? Maiden over.
Maiden over to start with. Very good over. I mean, there are lots of moving parts, but actually at the crease for Ballinger, she's in a good position, and she's hit her targets every ball. I'd say she must be disappointed she hasn't got a wicket. I would think.
Absolutely. And a left arm over the wicket, which is still a fairly point of difference.
Yes.
Because Sparks have Katie George doing, the same action, although obviously different styly.
It's always an issue for your right-handers, just in terms of getting yourself lined up, slightly opening out, but you're just wary that all of them can just tuck it back into you, so you're wary of the LBW, but you're equally wary of being beaten outside off stump, so it's that instant uncertainty.
Yeah.
She'll just need one shot just to get herself away, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully. Now, Abby Freeborn will face her first ball since that was a maiden over. And we've got Sarah Glenn.
Straight in.
Yeah, straight in with the England bowling attack. Sarah Glenn's action is also very interesting. Well, lots of interesting actions today. She sort of appears to produce the ball from behind her ear, but we'll see now.
Like a magician.
We shall see now. She's tossing the ball hand to hand. Freeborn ready to face. Aha! From behind my ear. That goes straight to the point fielder, and there is no run. It's a short run up, so we get through the overs quick as well. That's
get through the overs quickly. That was again instant reverse sweep with a field that's pretty much set for that, I'd have said. So unless you're going to get that very fine or over the top, that's quite a risk.
Again, attempting the same shot. Did they say the definition of lunacy is doing the same thing but expecting a different reply? But I mean, we like invention.
Yeah.
But it has to be at the right time. We're trying not to be too old-fashioned about this, aren't we, Barbara?
We are.
Freeborn. Oh, up and over. That's more like it. Up and over the top. Making the most of the fielding restrictions, and that's the first run on the board for Central Sparks, which has sent the kids wild. So up and over the top, sort of long on there, and doing what is supposed to be done. We used to call it pinch hitting, but hitting up and over those short fielders on the
Well, yes,
25-yard circle.
Using her feet, and again, I mean, she must be pretty confident. She scored quite a few runs, hasn't she?
Oh,
Of late?
she's had a
really
season
good
with a bat.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that confidence needs to come into play to just start knocking it around a bit.
She's 5th in the all this season batting PCA most valuable players as Perrin faces this time, and just dobs that down to cover point. And
is that just in the Charlotte Edwards Cup or across?
No, that's the whole season.
Right.
So this season she's 5 in the batting rankings.
Gosh, that's good. Yeah.
She got 71 not out against Thunder in that great partnership she had with Amy Jones.
Yes.
And 93 as well. Oh, it's up in the air. Oh, it's dropped in front of the fielder. So again, making the most of that for the fielding restrictions there. Another one to the total. So 2 without loss. Central Sparks here at Edgbaston in the sunshine. Those distinctive floodlights with the E shape, which Kevin James hadn't noticed last time he came. He said, "Oh, I've never noticed that before." It was like, revealing magic tricks to him. Oh, again up and over, the same shot, this time into a larger gap, and the fielder won't get that one. We've got the first 4. That will send the kids mad. 6 without loss, Central Sparks.
Well, and I think either they've had a chat mid-over, but they've decided, I think quite sensibly, that they're going to get value for hitting straight or, within that, over towards the leg side. There's just no fielders, so I'm much happier seeing them doing that, coming down, meeting the ball. I think that's a much safer shot, although hitting in the air, than trying to fiddle it round as a reverse sweep just at the minute. In terms of the way the field's set.
Well, and getting used to the timing of the ball and stuff, rather than trying to do a little bit too funky too early, potentially. We shall see. So 2 overs in. I
don't really think that's being boring. I think that is about saying, it's a new day, it's a new pitch, whatever, it's a new bowlers you're facing. Just give yourselves an over or 2. Because these 2 can make a big difference batting, can't they?
Perrin to face this time. Ooh, wrapped on the pads, but well outside the line of leg. And squealing going off below us. It's great to have that hopper. And I just think in 10 years' time or whatever, those girls might well be players, umpires, scorers, commentators even. Who knows? Inspired by the folks that they're seeing here. My story starts at Edgbaston. I mentioned that last time. So I was on a school trip here. That's my first cricket experience. So maybe the same for them as Ballinger comes in. Perrin plays it up and over Abby Freeborn's head, just about over her head as she ducks down, and that goes straight to long off, and there is no run.
No, it is great the kids are here, and it is amazing the noise they make. I mean, there's not thousands of them, but it does feel like and sound like there are more people in the stadium, which is brilliant when you're playing. It's lovely to hear that, to be honest.
Ballinger winding herself up. Perrin slashes at that one. It goes straight through, and Barbara takes a big gulp. Blaze in their familiar orangey red tops, and Sparks in their black with a sort of purple shoulders and yellow detail on their tops. They will be next year basically Nottinghamshire, and the Blaze will become Nottinghamshire. We're not sure if they're going to be Nottinghamshire Blaze or Nottinghamshire Women or whatever. And Central Sparks will be Warwickshire, so some changes to come next season as Ballinger comes in again. Oh,
that's a better
played
shot.
lustily to Kirsty Gordon, and it's cut off, but they get through a single. 7 for no loss here in the 3rd over, still in the power play, so fielding restrictions apply. 25-yard circle, of course, in the women's game, and it's a 30-yard circle in the men's game, and the numbers inside and outside that. So in the women's game, 25 yards and 2 fielders out, and they've got a fine leg and a square leg outside the circle at the moment, have the Blaze, and the others poised on that 25-yard circle, ready to pounce. Freeborn crouching. Ooh, just dobs that on the head. There is no run.
It's another very good over already, isn't it, from Ballinger? They are struggling to get her away. And obviously you can understand the intent to make the most of the power play. So I presume that you don't know what they've been told, but I guess that's what Perrin is there for.
Yeah.
And you can see that's what she's wanting to do. But
I don't think where the fielders are really tends to bother Davina Perrin. If she can see a shot that she can play, I think that's kind of what's in her mind. It's Freeborn shapes the
That's
posh
nicely
side
played,
and
actually.
plays that back to that fine leg fielder, and they get through for a single. That was what you need to be. You need to be playing that shot to a gap where you can get a run.
But
That's
also it was
the
a
point,
confident. You know, she's played that on length. You know, she's in a really good stable position, and it's a very safe shot. Got the one. Another another time she might. You know, you get the angles slightly differently, and that gets past the player, and it's four. Look, I mean, the outfield looks lovely, doesn't it today?
Yeah.
So you're going to get value for your shots, but I mean, Blaze are bowling very well, so you can see why they've done they've done really well in this whole competition, haven't they? They've only lost one, so you can see they're already set up as difficult to beat.
Yeah. This is always a bit. There's always a bit of extra spice here because it is the Midlands derby, and various players have hopped the fence. So Glenn went from Sparks to Blaze, and so did Marie Kelly. And Freeborn came the other way actually. So we've got East Mids versus East Mids here as that's played. Oh, great shot backward of square. There's 4 runs. 4 runs to Abby Freeborn.
That's a change of bowler.
Yes, change of bowler
so
there.
Only 1 over from Sarah Glenn. And this is
Catherine Bryce from the far end.
She won't be very happy with that as a full toss starter, but Freeborn will be delighted.
Yes, because you were saying about it, they've started with a sort of Ballinger having a couple, because some of the teams we've seen in the Charlotte Edwards Cup have swapped bowlers every over just to kind of chop and change. As Freeborn edges that down to fine third, as it were. It's going towards the rope. It's not going to go. It's going to run out. No, they've reeled it in.
Perrin's
They're going to have to run that. Yeah. So, well, thank you for spotting that. So I was busy watching the ball then. 3 more to the total. We are now in the 4th over. Sparks are 15 without loss. Perrin on 2. Freeborn pitched a strike at the end of the last over and is on 13. But Davina Perrin will face. Product of the ACE Academy, which is to get more Afro-Caribbean players back into cricket, as Catherine Bryce comes in from the Birmingham end. Ooh, past the bat again. There is no run to bowling to her sister behind the wickets. So we've got a brace of Bryce today.
A brace of Bryces.
Yeah. Expect Mum and Dad to be in watching. They're usually in as well.
Well, you don't want to be dropping anything as the wicket keeper, do you? If it's your sister bowling.
Bryce in. Perrin flicks at that, and it's stopped on the field there by Ballinger, and they just get the 1. So another 1 to the total. 16 without loss. Power play will be 6 overs. So we've got a bit more time of the power play. Freeborn got 93 in the Rachel Hayhoe against Sunrisers, so she's been doing well with the bat this season. Oh, she's desperate to get that shot away.
She is desperate to get that.
do that.
In fact, I think that was there for that one. I think she got a bit excited about how wide it was, and maybe just took her eye off it, because there is a gap fine.
She's right. There is nobody down
that would have
there,
gone for 4 if she'd just got something on that. So I think that was a sensible choice.
Yeah. What's she going to do this time? She's going to try and do the same thing.
There we go. They're just going to fill that gap.
They are as well. So Ballinger is dropping to short third on the circle there, and they're moving the square to backward of square, and the sort of forward. So we've got forward square and we've got backward square as the 2 out of the field and restrictions circle as Catherine Bryce comes in. Freeborn has another waft at that, and it goes straight through to her sister, and there is no run. That's the end of the over. 4 overs gone. Central Sparks are 16 without loss. Perrin on 3, Freeborn on 13 here at Edgbaston. So these teams, now they're in the finals, but we need to find out who is going to play whom. So the semi-finals will be 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and that's all to play for in this game and in the other game that involves Stars and Vipers, that we'll give you some updates on as we go through the day, no doubt.
Do we have a notion of a par score here in the Charlotte Edwards Cup? There's been some decent scores.
There's been some decent scores. Yeah, I think probably one. I mean, I'm sure Hypercourse could correct us, but it's probably 140. But they're always aiming for that 150 and getting beyond the 150, depending on how wet conditions and how fast the outfield's going, I guess, and to how good the bowling is. As Ballinger prepares to get the next over.
So this is 3 overs on the bounce.
She might be one of those. She strikes me as one of those bowlers who might like a continuity. We'll ask Georgia that later. Perrin squirts that to point, but there is no run.
Well, and she's doing an exceptional job in building pressure. 16 off 4 in the power play. you know, Sparks would have wanted more than that, so she's really tying them down.
Yeah. Ballinger, she's got a great dot ball percentage in that, Charlotte Edwards, so she's adding to that today as Perrin plays that.
Super
Oh, it's
shot.
going to be a lovely 4. Not stopping that one. Through long off. 4 runs to Davina Perrin.
Well, she'll feel better for that.
Yes. But a traditional in the V. Straight
well,
down.
No, but she really hit it, so she was in a good position. She was full face of the bat and very fast hands. And I think for Ballinger, you know, that was perhaps just slightly fuller. That was all, you know, that just meant it came onto the bat quite nicely. That's the first one, really. And in fact, it looks like she was trying to change the ball, but the umpire said no.
No,
I think you should get on with that.
Yeah, Gabby Brown says, get on with that, Gabbalaw. Ballinger. Just that lovely wind up at the top of her run and a little hitch kick along the way. Perrin plays that into the ground first and up and over Ballinger, and there is no run.
That's a good
Trying
comeback.
to get it away, isn't she?
Yeah, well, that was pretty much a Yorker. That was she did well to keep that out.
Still in the power play, of course, so we've got fielding restrictions. And the orange players on the circle, ready to bounce. Ballinger to Perrin. Wind up, hitch kick. Shapes. Oh, it's going through. That's going to go for 4 there. Through third. 4 runs to Davina Perrin. There's a big gap there, wasn't there, Barbara?
Yes, I'm not sure that's exactly where she was intending, but again, the intent, the fast hands, and it's gone safely, you know. But that's a good shot, and take those 4 runs.
24 without loss, Central Sparks here in the 5th over. 2 more balls. What has Ballinger got in her toolbox to serve to Davina Perrin? It's a lovely swinging action, isn't it? Ooh, straight through. There is no run.
Again, just pushed a little wider. I think Perrin's eyes were lighting up for another off drive there. Just missed that one. But again, it's great intent from a very young player, isn't it? I think I do like watching her.
Shots all round the ground. 360 player, Davina Perrin. Ballinger comes in from the pavilion end. Ooh. Has a little dabble at that. Wasn't quite sure whether to play it or not because it looked like it might be going wide. And that's the end of the over. So 5 overs gone. Perrin on 11, Freeborn on 13 and Sparks on 24. Few words from Barbara and I'm going to hand over to Mike Perkins.
Well, yeah, interesting to keep Ballinger on for a 3rd over. She's gone for 2 4s there, but still I think she'd be happy with the 3 overs that she's bowled. Sparks just pushing on a little. Got 1 more over at the power play, which they'd hope to maximise, and then game on.
Yes, indeed, and I'll have a proper chat with Barbara Daniels in just a moment, in about 5 overs time, but we're going to bring in Georgia Ralph as well. We're going to have a double change in the commentary box with 1 over of this power play remaining. It's going to be bowled at the far end, by the looks of things, by the captain, Kirsty Gordon, who's coming into the attack here at Edgbaston. As I say, you're watching Central Sparks YouTube channel, and it's the Sparks taking on the Blaze today as we decide the lineup for finals day. That one cut away by Abby Freeborn. There is no run on offer to Lucy Heim at backward point. Welcome, Georgia Ralph. How are you?
Hello, very well. What a lovely day we've got here at Edgbaston today.
It's fantastic, sun shining, and school children in as well to enjoy this one as Freeborn comes down the track and can't get the ball past mid-wicket, so has to settle for another dot ball again. It was a strange start to the innings with those 8 dot balls. They really Blaze put themselves in front there. Gordon on her way again, left arm around the wicket, Freeborn down the track, slashes at the ball but doesn't find a gap in the field, and that's another dot ball, so still 24 without loss. Here's Gordon again, back of the run. Quickly through this over at the moment as that one's hit up to mid-off once more. Another dot ball, very tidy over this one, Georgia.
Yeah, I think Freeborn, she's trying to go straight over the top of the bowler's head here, I think is her plan. She's a very good 360 player, as we've seen her use her feet quite a lot today.
Did so there, got an inside edge, and Hyam had to tidy up on the 45. Keeps it to the 1 run there, so 25 without loss, just slightly spoiling what was looking like it could be a maiden over at the back of the power play from Kirsty Gordon. And after those 8 dots at the start of the innings as well, this would have been very welcome indeed. It would have definitely made it the Blazers' power play, as it still probably will be even after this ball, which is hit to cover by Perrin. That's another dot ball. So 25 without loss at the end of the power play. Georgia Relf, Leicestershire cricketer yourself, so you have a foot in that kind of that Blaze camp, if you like, in terms of where you play your cricket. I guess you feel the Blaze are on top there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was an interesting choice from Sparks to win the toss and choose to bat. I mean, the deck looks great for batting on, but they have been chasing quite a lot throughout the season so far and done well in chasing. So it was interesting to see them choose to bat first. But the Blaze are really taking advantage of this crowd, I think. I think that's definitely putting some pressure on these opening batters.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Perrin was right in the mood when she came running through the flags at the start with the school children cheering behind her and that kind of thing. But neither batter's really found fluency yet. As we were saying, they've both had runs in this competition. Perrin 176 at 22 and Freeborn 183 at 22.87, including the 71 not out off 57 to send Sparks to finals day, and she sends that one down the ground through the mid-off region over the top of the bowler's head. It was straight of the fielder at mid-off and away for 4 runs, 29 without loss, and a much needed boundary as the fielding restrictions ease and allow 4 players outside the rope, but none of them in a protective position for that one. Great shot.
I think that's what we tried to see her do at the other end, but she's managed to pull it off there, and a great shot down the ground. Yeah,
she's certainly been looking for that route, as this time sweeps lustily towards the leg side and makes no contact. So that's a dot ball.
Definitely coming out with some confidence today after a 71 not out at her last game here, so I think she's looking for some more runs today.
Yeah, she certainly enjoyed playing against Thunder in a pressure situation on Friday, as 1 more added to the total, 30 without loss with that sweep shot that did connect this time. Found its way all the way out to Catherine Bryce, who's patrolling over there. The Blaze, though, have been in very, very good form. Just lost the 1 game. That was last time out against South East Stars. Slightly worryingly for them at Derby, where finals day will be. But that's been their only defeat so far. If they win today, they will secure top spots. The Sparks are looking for a win to ensure 3rd spot. It would only be a Vipers bonus point win that would prevent them doing that, as that's away for 4 runs. Neatly stroked wide of mid-off this time after Freeborn went straight of mid-off earlier in the over. Perrin goes wider and just sort of opens the shoulders slightly to, or rotates the shoulders slightly to direct it there. 34 without loss, Georgia Ralph.
Yeah, I think Perrin was probably feeling the pressure quite a lot at the beginning of the innings, but these boundaries are really helping her to get her head back in this game.
Glennie went for 6 and a first over, she's gone for 9, which becomes 10 with that cut stroke from Perrin to the cover boundary. So 35 without loss now, the score. And the England international, Sarah Glenn, under a little bit of pressure here. 73 T20 international wickets to Sarah Glenn's name. It's generally the format she's used in. Has another 19 in ODI, so 92 in total at international level for Sarah Glenn. And a little bit of discussion going on here between the umpires, but we're ready to recommence with that excited crowd, as we say, away to our left-hand side as we watch on from the pavilion end where Glenn is bowling from. Out to the square leg boundary in front of square, another single on offer. So 36 without loss, a better over that one from a Sparks point of view, but they feel like they're playing catch up a little bit in this innings, and almost every time they do catch up they fall behind again.
Yeah, I think it helps that they've not lost a wicket yet. That's definitely going to come in useful later on in the innings, when they're probably going to start pushing on and kicking on a little bit more, try and get some more runs on the board. But they're looking in an okay position from where they started out here.
They are indeed, as Perrin takes the helmet off for a moment as she heads to the non-striker's end. Kirsty Gordon's going to continue after that very impressive previous over that went for just the 1 run from this, the Birmingham end of Edgbaston. You say score on the previous game here on Friday of 147 wasn't enough for Lancashire Thunder, so Sparks are probably going to have to go some, but wickets in hand was the key to their chase the other day. Will it be the key to setting a total here? The reverse sweep brings 2 but not 3 for Freeborn. She's been looking for that throughout the innings and gets that one away nice and fine. 38 without loss.
Yeah, it's important that she's backed herself to, it's obviously a shot of her strength, so it's important for her to continue trying it. It might not have paid off previously in the innings, but the fact that she stuck at that and scored 2 runs there was excellent.
She's got just the one fielder to beat there now. She's got 2 out on the leg side where she sweeps this ball and will only get 1 run due to a good sliding stop by Heather Graham, the Australian overseas player. 4 T20 internationals and an ODI for Australia for Heather Graham. She's also had a host of T20 sides as Perrin comes down excuse me, down the track to Kirsty Gordon and just clips slightly leg side but isn't able to find a run. So yeah, she's had Trent Rockets and Northern Superchargers in the 100, Mumbai Indians in the Women's Premier League, as well as Hobart Hurricanes and Perth Scorchers in the Women's BBL as Heather Graham. So quite a talented cricketer as Perrin clips off her toes and finds another one. 40 without loss, the total moves on to.
Yeah, I think they've brought Kirsty Gordon into the bowling attack here to try and get one of these key wickets. She's taken 17 wickets from 9 games so far, so she's definitely the one to do it.
Yep, she's top of the wicket-taking charts at the moment, is Gordon, as her side heads towards finals day. Now this is swept well, and it goes quickly across the turf, but quick 2 was Hyam, who got the throw away. The bails were taken by Sarah Bryce, and she even threw for the non-strikers end, but both batters were home. 42 without loss with those couple. Lucy Hyam, you were saying, as a cricketer you know well from your cricket in Leicestershire?
Yes, very well. We've played together since we were about 12 years old, so yeah, she captained us, was an excellent role model for all the youngsters coming through as well, and she's continued to do that, and I'm sure she'll be signing some autographs a little bit later.
As that one is swept by Freeborn, taken on the pad, so that's a dot ball. 42 without loss. We've had 8 overs of this innings. Central Sparks winning the toss today, deciding to bat, having decided to field with a bit of rain around the other day. But a crucial game in the sense that this could well be a final. These two might not meet at all on finals day. We just don't know. But there is the potential for these two to meet in a Charlotte Edwards Cup final. So every little ball, every little jewel here today, there'll be a chance to sort of get one up on their opponents.
Yeah, I think the Blaze have been bowling really good areas so far. They've been utilising their variations well. They've been really thinking about their field placements and changing them for those variations too, which has paid off so far. But I think they will be a little bit disappointed that they've not taken that early wicket so far. Yeah,
I mean, that was the thing that helped the Sparks chase the other day. I mean, they were way behind. I think they were round about the sort of 50 mark at the 10 overs, so they hit nearly 100 runs in the final 10 overs of their chase the other day. But it was the fact they had the wickets in hand that allowed Jones and Freeborn to get to that victory target. As that one is played away nicely, diverted really by Perrin. It was Yorker length from Heather Graham, who's come into the attack from the pavilion end, and 4 more to the total. 46 without loss, just guided between backward point and short third and away for 4 runs. Really neat shot.
That was a lovely shot from Perrin. She really watched that right onto her bat and just dropped her hands at the last minute to that gap in the field.
Settles again over her bat. As we say, she had 176 runs coming into this game. She's going to add to those here with a neat drive into the offside. There was fingertips on it, but it doesn't prevent 2 being taken out through the cover region. And that also will bring up will take Sparks on to 48 without loss now, as they send cover back. And long off goes back as well. Square leg comes up as a result. Here's Graham as clouds move across the sky here at Edgbaston. Now this one's high. Will it have enough on it? It does have enough on it. There were fingertips on it from Kirsty Gordon, who was always running out of grass there, and she ends up with her heels on the rope, her fingertips touching the ball, but it goes for 6 runs. It brings up the Sparks 50, 54 without loss, and it was done in style by Davina Perrin there, who is on to 29.
It's really hard to believe how young she is, isn't it? 17 years old and hitting 6s at Edgbaston. You can't get much better than that.
Yep, she's competition so far has Davina Perrin. And she waits again. Graham goes short. Perrin goes over the top into the offside. It was an improvised shot, really. It was kind of a cut stroke, but way, way in front of square. Bounces once, away for 4, 58 without loss. Really good stroke play from Davina Perrin.
Yeah, a little bit short there from Graham. I think a lot of bowlers try and hit the deck hard, but unfortunately that's just not gone her way there.
It was almost like she was saying, right, you're going to hit this one up no matter what. Perrin said, thank you very much. Don't mind that at all. There's a long on, deep mid-wicket, long off and cover out. The 4 players allowed as Graham spears this one in towards the leg stump. It's defended.
Lovely Yorker that from Graham there. She's, again, using their variations, Blaze. It's looking good from their bowling unit so far.
Yeah, although Graham probably in this over needed the dot ball all of a sudden. She's gone for 16 already and still has 1 more ball to bowl. Delivers it now, and Perrin again stroking neatly into the offside. She won't find the rope this time because of Hyam's sliding stop, but there will be 2 more. That's 18 off the over. Very good indeed for Sparks. Takes them on to 60, and after that slowish start, they've more than made up for it with a couple of good overs.
Yeah, they're in a very good position now, Sparks. Obviously not lost a wicket yet, and they've still got some real strength in their batting lineup to come. Some big hitters, so hopefully we'll see some more boundaries, especially for these kids that are in watching today as well. Yeah,
they certainly enjoyed Perrin's batting in that last over, and Josie Groves is going to come on into the attack now, the leg spinner. Just having a long discussion at that Birmingham end about exactly where she wants her field. Freeborn gets a quick drink, and the Sparks batters look like they're enjoying life a little bit more now, having got that run rate up above 1 a ball, and still with wickets in hand as well. So despite the sticky start, they're actually starting to get into a very good position now.
Yeah, they've definitely relieved a lot of the pressure that started out. The kids have quietened down a little bit as well, so maybe they've had chance to get back into their own heads rather than the crowd pressure.
Groves just bowls a couple of practice balls and turns to the back of her mark now, where she will try and dismiss Freeborn. Delivers right on over the wicket. It's a loopy one, which is swept away powerfully by Freeborn, and she's dissected the 2 fielders on the leg side boundary, and that's 4 more to start the next over with. 64 without loss. And Blazer's excellent start with the ball looks like it's starting to fall apart a little here. They're in need of a wicket now.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a loosener there from Graves. Young player, she's come up through the academy, the Lightning Academy into the Blaze Academy as well. So young player, but she has got plenty of talent.
Here comes Groves again. Bowls to Freeborn, who moves slightly across to try and access the leg side. Got an inside edge. Goes to short fine leg where Ballinger picks up. 65 without loss. Bears staff continuing to flutter in the distance, as is the pride flag on top of the stand just to the left of the scoreboard as we look. It's white lettering in yellow numbers. Yellow numbers on the back of the Sparks shirt and on the trim of the kit, which is all black with purple shoulders. Nicely hit away by Perrin, who will come back for 2 here. It was into the offside, away over extra cover. 67 without loss.
Yeah, both mid-on, mid-off being back. It's the straight shots that these batters are going to be looking to play, and there's an easy one there, or if not 2.
Perrin down the track again, in the air, and he's caught this time. and caught well. Going away to the right-hand side there at extra cover. The catch was taken. Perrin furious with herself. She's out for 37. The first wicket falls for Sparks with the score on 67. And it was feeling as if the Blaze really needed that, and they have got the wicket that they desired. Georgia Ralph.
Yeah, she's gone for the same shot there, hasn't she? Just not managed to get quite under it enough to drop it into the gap. So unfortunate that. She's a talented youngster. I love watching her bat, but she's done well there today.
Yeah, magnificent 6 down the ground, as well as 5 fours in that innings of 37 from Perrin, but just couldn't quite find a route to the extra cover boundary there, which is what she was looking for as she lifted that ball dangerously in the end away into that offside and found herself caught and dismissed, and off Perrin heads as a result of that one. And it was an enterprising innings, as we say, before Claridge got her hands to that ball to take the catch off Josie Groves for 37. I think the 6 was the highlight of it, wasn't it? That was really well struck, Georgia.
Yeah, she timed it well. She's a very confident batter. We've seen her, she tried to play those ramp shots as well. She's very confident in those ramp shots. I think sometimes people view those as a risky shot, but for her it's very much in her talent pool.
Here's the new batter, Amy Jones. Bounced on her toes a couple of times and settles over her bat as the England international before driving back at the bowler. Doesn't quite find a way through. Bring Claire Jenkins back at the end of this over for myself, Mike Perkins, and she will continue to speak to the Leicestershire cricketer Georgia Ralph, who is part of our team, along with World Cup winner Barbara Daniels, as that one is defended by Amy Jones. Back down the pitch, end of the 10th over, 67 for 1 the score at the halfway point of the Sparks innings. After a word from Georgia Ralph, she will be joined by Claire Jenkins.
I think Amy Jones and Abby Freeborn are going to be looking forward to batting together today again after their excellent partnership against Thunder at the last game here at Edgbaston. Abby Freeborn's on 71 not out and Amy Jones 67 not out. Definitely think they're going to be looking to build another big partnership again today. Yeah,
it was a huge partnership. Yeah, quite right to point that out. So we'll see what they've got on offer for us. In the other game today, just quickly, we'll get a little bit of a break. Vipers are 80 for 2 at Hove against South East Stars. We'll be keeping an eye on that to see how the teams end up as Gordon comes in from the pavilion end. Oh, Abby Freeborn goes big styly with that, and it drops just in front of the fielder there. Marie Kelly, former Central Sparks, of course, down there at long on. She must have thought she was on there.
Yeah, I think she probably did think she was gonna make that catch there, but unfortunately just fell short.
Yeah, or well timed from Freeborn to just drop it in front of her.
Maybe so, maybe so.
Gordon to Jones this time. Goes back, can only defend that back to the bowler, and there is no run. Score is 68 for 1. Jones yet to get off the mark, and Freeborn on 31. They have relied on Abby Freeborn to get lots of runs for him, so we'll see how that goes. Amy Jones tries a bit of an innovation, and there's a bit of an appeal there. It was a bit messy in front of the stumps, but they do get through for a single. And Gabby Brown is deciding whether that came off the bat. I think it must have come off some bat. So just the 1 to the total, 69 for 1.
We've seen all 3 batters so far for the Sparks go for that reverse.
They seem to be obsessed with it, don't they, this morning? Must be something in the waters. Freeborn takes a big thump at that, and that's going to Marie Kelly at long on again. They're going to do 2 here. Amy Jones is determined to keep things moving. There's a bit of a chance at the other end, but Freeborn makes her ground. They get the 2, quite rightly, but I don't think Freeborn had got the message. Found herself herring back to the other end. They're going to take a little bit of a long way back to the crease there just to get a bit of breath there, I think, for Abby Freeborn. Shapes to the offside and plays that to mid-wicket. Fielder comes in, picks that up. 1 more to the total, 72 for 1. Sparks here So the halfway mark. I've got this theory about double plus 20 at the halfway stage. So we could be heading
I think
for
you could be right there,
160 here if things go well. It's Gordon to Jones, who takes a big swipe at that and goes past the bowler. Diving in despair. Too long on there. Marie Kelly again, and that's just a single. That's the end of the over. So 11 overs gone. Central Sparks are 73 for 1. Jones on 2 and Freeborn on 34 in this Charlotte Edwards Cup match. The last of the round games. We're working to see who jockeys for the positions, because finals day is on Saturday at Derby. First will play fourth and second will play third, and there is still some chance to mix that up depending on the results here and at Hove. So we'll try and keep you up to date on that. What do you reckon so far, Dinch?
I think you're right. I think Sparks are going to be looking to aim for 160 here. They've got themselves in a good position wickets wise. They can really afford to start kicking on now, and I'm sure Jones joining the crease is going to ensure that happens.
Yes, I don't want to say things too soon, but certainly seeing her play in the Pakistan series for England, she seemed to have taken a bit of taken a good turn in her batting. She seemed to be a little bit more patient, and scores are starting to come, and let's hope that's good for Central Sparks and for England duties, as Heather Graham, the Australian import, comes on to bowl to Amy Jones. Comes forward and plays that to the cover fielder, who comes running in. There is no run. Did you see any of the Pakistan series? Did you go to any?
Didn't watch much of it, no, unfortunately not.
I got to see most of those games. But Pakistan really need another really good batter, or a couple of sort of half decent batters. I think that was what they were missing, because they brought it all together quite well. And Jones takes a big blow at that one. It's got to mid wicket. They're not going to get to it. 4 runs to Amy Jones. Into the gap there and in the air.
I think Graham's just dropped that a little bit short of the length that she should be going for there. I think she needs to be bowling a little bit fuller, especially to the field that she's got, encouraging the batters to play straight. She's got a field set for that. So, I think she's going to be hoping for better.
Yeah, she's been doing well. Heather Graham seems to have settled in well. Got a wicket against the Stars. Amy Jones picks that gap again in the air. It's going to drop again in front of the fielder. They're either having luck or judging this well to just bounce in front of the fielders here. 78 for 1 are Central Sparks in this last of the group games in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. This is the T20 competition between the 8 English regional centres of excellence as they are this year. There will be Tier 1 counties next year, so this will be Warwickshire versus Notts next season. As Graham comes in, that's played in the air to the fielder. It's going to drop again. It's a great shot, but only 1 run for it as the fielder comes in from the square. Is that your mate Lucy Hyam?
That's Lucy Hyam, yeah.
How great, you grew up together, brilliant.
Yeah, she's a fielder that you want everywhere on the pitch, I think, really.
We were talking about warming up, about which fielders you want where. Heather Graham decides what she's going to bowl to Amy Jones. Sort of dabs that towards point, but it's picked up by Sarah Glenn, and there is no run.
It's a better length from Graham there, bit fuller, makes the batter have to play on the offside rather than the leg side. So yeah, it's worked well for her there with the dot ball.
Amy Jones, of course, equal top scored. It doesn't sound like very much, but 26 was enough to get Sparks the emphatic win against Vipers, and she plays that up and over everybody there, and they get through for a single into a lovely gap. There's a sort of pitching wedge up and over the field there. It's the end of the over. 12 overs gone. Central Sparks are 80 for 1. Amy Jones on 8. Freeborn on 35. Here at Edgbaston, you'll listen to the voice of Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire, and Georgia Ralph, current Leicestershire opening batter.
Opening batter, yeah.
And how are things at Leicestershire?
Really good. We've been having a really good season. We've just started our T20 fixtures as well. But we've won both of our 50 over games so far. And yeah, we're in a really good position.
Who have you beaten so far then?
We have beaten, now you're testing me because I've got
2
to
victories,
remember.
however, anyway, wherever they are. But that's great. So 50 over and now into the 20 over as Sarah Glenn comes on from the pavilion end this time. Amy Jones thinks about hitting that up and over and decides against it, puts it along the carpet straight to the cover fielder, and there is no run. 80 for 1. Central Sparks batting. They elected to bat from the toss. Oh, Amy Jones has a bit of invention. That's going to be 4 runs. Another 4 to the total. You will hear the voices of also the children who are in the stand below us. There's a lot of school trips in. So Central Sparks did this last year, and they bussed in a whole load of school kids for the morning single header, and it makes for a great atmosphere. And of course after the game they get selfies and autographs with all the players, and hopefully 10 years time they'll be inspired to be playing, umpiring, commentating, scoring, administrating. Could be all sorts. Hopefully their cricket story starts here today as Amy Jones plays that to mid-wicket. There is a fielder who's going to cut that off and they get a single. Score moves to 85 for 1.
Yeah, it really is amazing how quickly cricket has moved on from where we were, and now seeing kids having the day off school to come in and watch the games. I'd love to have been one of those when I was younger.
Glenn to Freeborn, who takes a big swipe at that. That's going towards mid-wicket. There is a fielder there who's going to cut that off. And they're going for 2. Amy Jones has decided she's going to pick up some 2s. They were getting a lesson from Thunder in that close game, the last game here at Edgbaston. Oh my, that went right down to the wire. But Thunder gave them a lesson in how to run 2s. Seren Smale was on a bit of a mission that day. It was a close game, went right down to the last ball. Amy Jones stroked to 4 through the covers and they won that game as Freeborn gets an edge, the sort of back edge of that, and they get through for 1. Are they going to go for 2? Amy Jones is thinking about it. Yeah, she's encouraging Abby Freeborn to run back, and they get another 2. They're building that score slowly. 89 for 1 are Central Sparks. Jones on 13, Freeborn on 39. Will she be eyeing that 50, do you think? Potentially. She's done well. She's getting lots of 50s this season as she takes her time getting back to the crease and having a little look at where the fielders are. Deep backward square leg. Glenn to Freeborn. Plays that again on the back of her bat, and that's going to be caught, I'm afraid. That was one risk too many there as Freeborn goes for 39 off 32 balls. That's caught. Who's that backward of there?
I think it was Grace Ballinger.
Grace Ballinger taking a catch at fine leg there off the bowling of Sarah Glenn. So Abby Freeborn has to come off. We're just starting to talk about her batting as well. So we now have Eve Jones, by the look of it, Central Sparks captain, who's been it's had a couple of games off because she caught a ball on the back of her head when she was. Well, no, it's not. It's not, is it?
Yeah,
Is it Eve Jones? I thought it was. I was thinking, oh, she ran out by like somebody else then. Yeah, Eve Jones, who has had a couple of games off. She got hit on the back of the head playing against Stars when she was batting. Precautionary and quite rightly taking a couple of games off, although chomping at the bit, I heard from Callum Insall to get back onto the pitch. Captain wants to take her team to finals day on Derby. She will be leading them, of course, at Derby, but who are they going to be playing in that semi-final? That's all up for grabs in the games that we've got today. So 13 overs gone. Sparks are 89 for 2. Amy Jones on 13. Eve Jones. So we've got the Jones Knott sisters batting together. This is going to confuse the scorers now. They're going to be like, oh, which Jones was that?
Jones and Jones.
Yeah, and if we've got Bryce bowling to Sarah Bryce behind the wicket, so plenty of opportunities to put in the right surname, but not necessarily the right player. Yes, Barbara BB is suggesting a duo of Joneses. I think that's rather nice. As Bryce comes in and Amy Jones rocks back and plays that to long on. They get through for a single. Just the one. 90 for 2, heading towards that 100.
Yeah, Eve Jones has had a pretty consistent batting season so far this year. I know she scored 43 in the last game, but she's pretty consistently scored 20s, 30s.
Yeah, the season so far, she's 6, wrapping in the Rachel Ayo as well. She's 6 in the batting stats. So yeah, she's a consistent. Sometimes starts a little bit slow, but then once she gets going, that's what you don't want to see for opposition. But Catherine Bryson to Eve Jones, who just plays that nonchalantly, steps back, Step hit up and over the field there, up and over, long off. And
She made that look really
yeah,
easy,
she
didn't
did.
she?
And also just like, yeah, whatever. It's that. Another 4 runs to the total. Central Sparks 94 for 2. And Eve Jones off the mark with a very nonchalant shot up and over the field there.
Yeah, she just opened her shoulders up, didn't she? I think she knew exactly what she was trying to do and executed it perfectly.
Oh, no effort there at all. Just lifted up over the fielding circle as Catherine Bryce comes in. What's the reply? Well, Eve Jones has to defend that, but defend it to long on, and they get through for a single. So it's good batting there from Central Sparks as they head towards that 100. So they got 95 for 2. Amy Jones on 14, right-handed. Eve Jones left-handed on 5. Amy Jones to face Catherine Bryce this time, captain of Scotland. They've qualified for the first time. We're very excited for Scotland. Catherine Bryce in. Amy Jones up and over this time. He's going to drop again in front of the fielders. Central Sparks toying with the Blaze fielders here as they get through for a single. 96 for 2.
Seems like they've been practicing their reverses and how to get
How
the
to
ball to drop just in front of a fielder.
It would be a neat skill if that is a technique thing, as Catherine Bryce comes in from the Birmingham end to Eve Jones. Ooh, there's a little dabble at that, and Sarah Bryce has to do the tidying up. There is no run.
Looks like Bryce has just tried to straighten her lineup of more of a leg stump line to Eve Jones here. I think she's got a field set mostly on the offside, but Jones struggling to get it away on that leg line.
Catherine Bryce right arm over. Eve Jones up and over into a gap again. They're covering that. They're gonna pick that back up, and meanwhile Central Sparks get that 2. So following Lancashire Thunder's example there and getting a 2 wherever they can. That's the end of the over. 14 overs gone. Central Sparks 98 for 2, heading towards that 100 milestone.
Yeah, definitely think they're going to be having a conversation about kicking on here. Still got plenty of wickets in hand.
Yep.
6 overs to go.
They want the Jones Knott sisters to be getting the majority of these, though, won't they? As looks like we're going to see the return of Grace Ballinger, a player that you know.
I do. I've done a bit of performance analysis for Ballinger. Never played with her, but she's bowled some really good lines and areas in her early overs at the beginning of the game, and definitely put a lot of pressure on the Sparks batting.
Yeah, and I mentioned briefly earlier that she's very high in the percentage of dots statistics for the Charlotte Edwards Cup, and she's number 5 in that at the moment in terms of, well, she'd be higher now, but that was before today's game. So doing well and collecting those dots, certainly joining them together as she's bowled so far. Left arm over. Amy Jones strokes that beautifully through point, and they get through for a single along the carpet. She seemed to have a lot of time on at Worcester as well. I suppose that's the mark of a great player, isn't it? They seem to have a lot of time on the ball.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
play those shots.
Yeah, I think Ballinger this season, she seems to have been really working on her lengths. Last season, I think she struggled a little bit every now and then throwing in that short ball that batters capitalised on, but her lengths, as I've said, have been really good. She's really getting it up in that area for the batters to struggle to get underneath, so that they're not really getting it away.
Yeah, Eve Jones to face that. Plays that into the leg side, just about takes that off her right toe. Drops it into a gap, and they get through for a single on the leg side, and the kids are getting wound up. The school kids are enjoying themselves, and no doubt they've probably sent a Sparks mascot down there to wind them up. But it's great to have that hobble in for a day game, and all those young boys and girls who are in from the local schools will go back perhaps as their first ever cricketing memory, perhaps to be inspired to do something in cricket in future. It's dropping again in front of Marie Kelly, his ex-Central Sparks. Taunting the field here are Central Sparks with their driving just to the point where it's not possible to take a catch, and there's another run, and we went through the 100 with that. 101 for 2 are Central Sparks. Amy Jones on 17, Eve Jones on 8. Eve Jones to face this delivery from left arm over Grace Ballinger. It was a full toss, and it's gone in the air. This is going to be a catch. The fielder underneath it, yeah. And that was a risk too much there as Eve Jones walloped that up into the air, and that was an easy catch there for Josie Groves out in the outfield, about 20 yards in off the rope. A little bit of a coming in from the rope there, but great catch off the bowling of Grace Ballinger. So she got the wicket.
Yeah, she managed to set herself well, Groves, to get under that, because I think sometimes running in on catches you can be a little bit unstable, but she managed to really set herself well and actually didn't have to move too much there.
Went high in the air as well from Eve Jones. So we're going to see Courtney Webb now coming in. So this is Central Sparks, Australian import. Has been settling in nicely. She's played some really key innings as Courtney Webb. Sort of against the Vipers, 21 off 16. Against the Stars, 31 off 26. In the Rachel Hayhoe, she got 40 off 35. So kind of key innings. I mean the 40 is obviously a bigger score, but just coming in at the right time or being in just as the winning runs are struck. So getting herself settled. She's just taking a look at the wicket, taking guard from Gabby Brown at the one end. We've got Sue Redfern at the other end.
Yeah, I think, as you say, those innings are sometimes the most important innings. Being able to consistently come in and score those 20s, those 30s is actually sometimes a lot more valuable than coming in and scoring a 50 once a season.
Yeah, that's right. Ballinger to Webb. Dabs that towards the short third. It's gone underneath the fielder. Sarah Glenn's got a big run, but she's going to cut that off at deep third. Running a long way back.
She's played that really well. Soft hands there.
Soft hands. You were talking about that. You said that was one of your skills. Soft hands.
That was a very much a me shot. That
was
one.
It? Oh, okay. So we're admiring that.
About the only shot I've got, but yeah.
Well, Barbara will teach you how to play into the rough side. If you can teach her how to play into the posh side, which is the off side for Barbara. So Webb plays that into the leg side, takes it at the height of its bounce there. And that's just a single. Courtney Webb moves on to 3. And she's going to face the next over as well. So 15 overs gone. And I'm going to be leaving you. So I am Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire. And you will about to hear the voice of Mike Perkins. I'll hand you over to Georgia Ralph, Leicestershire opening bat.
Thank you. Yeah, so Sparks looking good. 104 for 3 here. 5 overs to go, so 7 wickets in hand. They're definitely going to start thinking about how they can hit a few more boundaries here and start really pushing those ones, turning those ones into 2s and those 2s into 3s possibly. We've got a pretty big boundary here, so there should definitely be at least 2 out to the fielders on the boundary.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how many the Sparks can get in these closing stages with those big boundaries. Our thanks to Georgia Ralph for now. We will bring back Barbara Daniels as well into the summarising chair as Josie Groves comes in to bowl, and that one is hit down the offside for just for no runs in the end. Just takes the toe of the bat of Courtney Webb, the Australian overseas, who is going to head down the track again, slices it slightly, and it spins past the fielder Sarah Glenn at backward point. There will be a couple of runs on offer, so that takes the score up to 106 for 3. Barbara Daniels, 1993 World Cup winner. What are you making of this game at the moment at Edgbaston?
Well, I think Sparks will be very happy after a pretty slow start. Got the last 5 overs running, then I think they'll be looking for at least 150. Just got to keep pushing this around.
Yeah, they're going to have to, as I say, they're going to have to find some boundaries to get there, so it'll be whether they can do that.
Oh,
Webb's going to attempt now, and she's caught at mid-off. A simple, straightforward catch in the end. Just hit in the air, and it looked to me like it was the captain underneath it. Kirsty Gordon will confirm that for you in a minute, but Webb's innings of 5 comes to an end, and she was looking to do exactly what we were saying there, really. Get back to ball and find boundaries. Couldn't clear the fielder in the end, and it was a tame dismissal.
Well, yes, I was trying to say that's quite a soft dismissal, because I've just, that's the first time I've seen Courtney Webb, but the way she started off with a very fine shot down to third man, Yeah, I'd like to have seen a bit more of her, but that was a soft dismissal in the end. And much as they might have 150 in mind, and there's 5 overs to go, and we need boundaries. What they also don't need to do is lose 3 or 4 wickets now and be out for 120. So I think really 140 plus would be a good score. Obviously, Amy Jones becomes really important.
It's almost this stage, and I mean, I think Katie George, come what may, is going to put bat to ball here. But it's almost a, if they were to lose one of these two, kind of get to 120 and then see what you've got left to go again, type situation. But I think Katie George, no matter what, is going to hit this one hard. But Groves getting the wicket there.
And it's great. I mean, obviously we want people to be hitting boundaries, but there's still a skill and a thought process in that. It's not just hit everything anywhere, and it's really looking at positional and spaces, because they are big boundaries. So 2s are on offer, but they've made it
again. Swept round the corner.
That's
by
a good run.
George, who does just pick up the 1 run, 107 for 4.
No, and I think that's a good call from Amy Jones to get on strike there. I mean, obviously, Amy showed her class the other day, and we do, much as Katie George is very good, from a Sparks point of view, you'd want Amy taking a lot of the strike.
Yeah.
But keeping it ticking over, let Katie maybe hit the bigger shots.
It's interesting. Amy Jones has gone at 1 a ball, but not more than that. And given how fluent she was looking the other day, it's a little bit of a surprise that she's not been able to find more boundaries herself. She clips this one leg side. She's going to look to come back for 2.
Yeah.
And she will come back for 2. Very good running by the England international, who likes batting at Birmingham and is enjoying doing so again here. 109 for 4. Confirmation then the wicket this over. Courtney Webb caught by Kirsty Gordon off the bowling of Josie Groves for 5 off 5 balls.
They could do with a couple of big overs, couldn't they, in this run-in?
Certainly could. As this one's a leading edge, it goes out towards cover. There will be a single taken to Claridge, who herself took a catch earlier in the innings. 110 for 4. A little bit of cloud bubbling up here in Birmingham, but not too much.
Look, this is a glorious day. We've had hardly any sunshine, lots of rain in these parts over the last, like most of the country, really.
I keep reading this week that it's coming. It's been promised, isn't it?
What,
that
the summer?
Yeah, that we are actually going to finally get some sort of a summer.
Someone needs to send a memo to Derby then, because it's not often summer there, is it?
Yes, and they could do with that at the weekend, couldn't they,
Yes.
for finals day, with 3 games to be played all on the same day. It's looking like it's going to finish around about 9:45 at night. So it should be.
They're long old days, aren't they? When you come to the big blast finals here, at Edgbaston, they're long days to keep going.
Here comes Catherine Bryce, bowls, and this
That's
one's
a
hit
nice
back
shot.
over her head. Now, long gone, he's going to try and run round and stop it in the form of Marie Kelly, but she gets nowhere near it because it was just offside of straight. It was the bowler's side of straight, and it went right over Catherine Bryce's head, who's been in phenomenal form with the bat. She's also contributes with the ball as she's trying to here. 114 for 4, the score moves onto.
And that was a very nice shot, very nicely timed. Didn't try to overhit it.
4 for 8 as Scotland made the ICC T20 World Cup in the qualifiers out there, as that's another single taken with a heave into the leg side. 115 for 4 brings George onto strike.
Yeah, I think sometimes when I watch Amy, I mean, she's a beautiful timer of the ball, and sometimes I think you can see her trying to overhit, and she loses the timing a bit. Where she when she plays those straight drives like that, as she did the other day, she makes it look very easy.
Here's Catherine Bryce into Katie George, who's whisked it round the corner, and that will go for 4 runs. Or will it?
Oh.
Great stop, a great bit of fielding out there on the backward square leg boundary. It looked for all the world that one was going to roll away, but it was just hauled in the nick of time in the end.
That was
2 taken, 117 for 4.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent piece of fielding. So that did look like a 4, and then it also looked like Amy Jones was very interested in the 3rd run, and I think they could have got there, but Katie sent her back.
Here comes Catherine Bryce again then to deliver right arm over the wicket from the pavilion end, forced into the offside from round about the crease in the end, and 118 for 4 the score moves on to. So they're getting to that 120 mark. They look like they're going to have about 3 overs to spare, but say it's going to be whether they can get, say, another 30 to get
Yeah.
up to 150.
I
and
think
make
they'd
this
like
really
to get to
competitive.
150, wouldn't they? And I think these two become critical in that sense. But again, those 2s and 3s become important in doing that as well. It's not all about the 4s.
Looks for the reverse sweep here, does Jones, and she gets it right off her toes past Teresa Graves, and that one's going to roll all the way to the boundary for 4. So an inventive way to get there, a risky way to get there, but she finds the boundary. 122 for 4, and she picked that in just the nick of time.
That's an incredible shot, because yes, I think she was very much in trouble if she'd missed it, but she's watched that all the way on and kept very still actually. And once it's past the fielder there, that's 4. So that's a an excellently played shot.
Watched it perfectly there, did Amy Jones. And now Catherine Bryce will go around the wicket for the final ball of the over. Perhaps trying to bowl towards the shorter side of the ground. She's got long on mid-wicket and backward square leg in the form of Ballinger, who made that, or in fact Ballinger's come into the ring now. So there's that excellent stop out there from the backward square leg earlier in the over, and that's where the ball will go in the direction of, and it's going to be a chase round the boundary. A tumbling stop again is made out there by Josie Groves, her second one in the over, and a very good piece of fielding indeed. 124 for 4 then at the end of the 17th over of this innings. You with Mike Perkins and Barbara Daniels, the 1993 World Cup winner. We must tell you what's going on elsewhere as well, of course, today, because we have 4 games in this competition, because they all have to play together on the last day, just in case there are matters still to be decided. We know the 4 qualifiers, and the other 2, other than these 2, Central Sparks and the Blaze, are playing each other. Southern Vipers versus South East Stars. Vipers 143 for 3. They still have 3 overs of their innings left. The other 2 games, Sunrisers versus Western Storm. Western Storm are 124 for 3 in that one. And Lancashire all out for 61, Lancashire Thunder against Northern Diamonds. So having come so close to beating Central Sparks here, which really would have changed the complexion of the table and given them a chance of going through to finals day, they've lost their final game, it would seem, with a total of 61 against the Northern Diamonds up at Durham. New over starts, right arm over the wicket, hit in the air, and Heather Graham's going to get a wicket. And it's the wicket of Katie George for 4, caught at mid-off by Kirsty Gordon. Her second catch of the innings, and 124 for 4 then. Becomes 124 for 5. And we will need Karis Pavley to come and help complete the innings.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, obviously looking for the runs there, just didn't quite. I think it looked like that ball came onto her a bit quicker than she was expecting. Because I think she was looking to play it to the leg side, and it just has taken the hit her out the the top towards the top end of the bat and just lobbed really to mid off. But yeah, I mean obviously the right idea. Again, all of this keeps heaping more pressure on Amy Jones, but she's more than capable of carrying it.
And she seems to have risen to it, doesn't she?
Yeah,
As
she
said,
does.
She was one a ball, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
she's now just getting up above that. So hopefully she will be able to carry Sparks to the score they want from their point of view. And certainly I'm sure the school children will enjoy that if she does. I know she's got a 6 in her as well, Amy Jones. So
Yes, she has.
it would be, I think that will get the school children going, wouldn't it? But another wonderful initiative this, to have them in. So they are just down there watching what's going on. Watching Karis Pavley mark her guard at the moment. There's Heather Graham, who had a fairly torrid first over in this game, going for 18. But this is more like it with a wicket from her first ball of this, the third one. Takes Pavley on the pads. There's all sorts of appealing going on. The ball dribbles away to backward point, and there is no run.
See, it's ever so easy from up here, isn't it? Because you're just thinking there's a big gap there. Just knock it into that and get Amy back on strike. We've got 16 balls left in this innings. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. Gap on the leg side for Pavley, who hits it there now powerfully. There was a chance for the fielder for a moment, but it's returned on the bounce by Marie Kelly, who I think does a lot of running for the skipper here, Kirsty Gordon, who gets to either be mid-off or mid-on and stay in the ring. But Marie Kelly has to sort of go between the long-off and long-on positions as a result, and field the ball quite regularly.
I did think that looked like that was a chance, really, but it's hard to just judge the distances from here.
Yeah, we're quite high, which gives you a little Bit of a strange kind of angle on it as that one is played away by Amy Jones. Pavely was clearly backing up well because she was almost at Jones's end by the time Jones had hit that one into the leg side. 126 for 5. Pavely again assesses her options. Left-handed as well, which will keep things interesting for the bowler. Sun shining down on the high rises in the distance. See all the way out towards the Five Ways roundabout over there. And that one's edged short of third, where Ballinger gets across, tumbling to her right and makes the stop, so keeps it to 127 for 5.
Yeah, no, that was a good save actually, because it wasn't a catch, but she has. If it had gone past her, then it probably could have gone for 4. And important that we just keep picking up any runs we can here. And I think, you know, hitting into pockets as well. If you can't get the 4, you know, if like Amy's last one was hitting straight to square, it's only a single, albeit it's a decent boundary. There's only one run if you're hitting straight to the fielder.
Here's Jones. Across the crease she goes, and she ramps this one over the top. It escapes the ring, and Ballinger will have to chase all the way. Won't get there. It pops up over the rope, just as Amy Jones had popped the ball up over her shoulder. 4 runs, 131 for 5. Another much-needed boundary for the Sparks, and this innings very much hinging on the batting of Amy Jones at the moment.
Yeah, no, I really like that because, again, I say she's getting caught sometimes just, you know, playing good shots to fielders, but actually that very neatly just hit it back over the wicket-keeper's head. No one's going to stop it there. And again, the beauty of nice outfields, that you get the value for those shots there. But yeah, no, very important that Amy keeps going here. 2 overs left. Not sure what's come on. Someone's come on now to bring him. No, just a bit of a drink.
Yeah, maybe
Bit
a
of a
little
message.
message as well. Whack it, probably.
Might be a message from the school children saying we want a 6. Might be that.
The Vipers are 158 for 4 with 2 overs remaining. They need a bonus point win if they're going to catch the Sparks in the table. Sparks currently 3rd, having beaten the Vipers at the weekend. South East Stars, who beat the Blaze, their only defeat in the competition so far, are the Vipers' opponents today. And they could go past the Blaze if Sparks beat them. Kirsty Gordon around the wicket, left arm,
That'll
captain
do,
back
2
into the attack. And Pavely wants to, but falls over as she turns, and I don't think Jones was interested anyway. I think Jones actually might quite fancy these 5 balls to score off herself here.
I like that intent though. I think it's right that Amy's on strike, but I mean that looking for 2, even if you're not going to get it, I think we've got. When I was watching the other day, I think I missed that real intent to run a first one fast and have the possibility of a second.
Kirsty Gordon, the leading wicket taker in the competition with 17, hasn't got any today and bowls this one and does get one with a ball straight onto the middle stump and knocks the off one back as well. And that was good direct bowling by Kirsty Gordon. Jones trying to give herself room to hit it over the top and down the ground, doesn't connect and is out for 36, 132 for 6. It looks like they're going to get that 140, but perhaps not the 150 at this rate, Barbara Daniels.
It does have that look about it. You never know. I think Amy will be disappointed with that. She had just slightly given herself a bit of room, stayed a bit leg side of it, but those are shots she plays quite frequently, doesn't she? But yeah, that's a bit of a blow for Central Sparks. I'm not doing very well at hiding my loyalties, I have to say. Remaining in any way neutral. But yeah, 140 would still be a good score, but they might even get more than that, so let's see.
Yeah, it's been strange. As I say, Sparks just feel as if every time they get in the position to go for that 150, they seem to lose a wicket and get pegged back. Emily Arlett will try and give it a whack, because that's generally what she does, so there's certainly going to be no pushing it about here, I don't think. I think it's going to be use those long levers and see where she can send this ball towards the rope. Does push it back to the bowler, Kirsty Gordon, who dives and makes the stop and keeps it to a dot. So she has a look at the first one.
I think that's fair enough. I think sometimes we forget how hard it is to just come straight in and smack the ball to the boundary.
The tall figure of Arlett works again and misses this one, and his bowled leg stump coming down the track, looking to clear the rope. Doesn't connect. Arlett out for naught. Kirsty Gordon bowling second Sparks batter in the over. Her wickets tally increases to 19 for the competition, and she continues to look the premier bowler, and I suppose it's that accuracy that she's been picking up all those wickets with.
Well, I mean, she is accurate. I mean, I can't see, whether she's getting much on the ball or not, but again, it's this stage of the innings, but I still would say You know, that you've still got, even when you've only got 10 balls left, you've got chance to do 1 or 2 before you decide, where am I ready to be, you know, coming straight down the pitch, because you don't want to be leaving yourselves, you know, we end up with 138 or something when we could have been 145, you know, and those could be, that could be the difference between winning and losing the game.
So it would be Georgia Davis to walk out and continue the innings here. She's perhaps better known for her bowling, but she can put bat to ball if she has to, and that's what she's going to come out here and try and do. She's been captaining the side in the absence of Eve Jones as well, so that's a little nod in her direction. And she just takes her guard, with Gordon tossing the ball from one hand to the other. And having come into the over with no wickets, she's now got 2 to her name. And delivers. Left arm around, right into the block hole there. And it is blocked by Georgia Davis.
Yeah, I mean, she is being very accurate. I mean, she's doing a very much a captain's job, isn't she, at coming on at difficult times and making sure they stay right on top in these last couple of overs.
Here's Gordon, bowls in towards the pads again and takes the pads, and there is no run as a result because the busy Sarah Bryce is there to pick up the ball. 132 for 7 then, the score for the Central Sparks here, who won the toss and chose to bat. And I feel almost like they'll think they just left a few out here today and could have just gone a bit bigger than they have ended up doing. But we will see. We'll see how competitive this score is. As long as it's above 1 a ball, it's always going to provide the fielding side second with a chance. So we shall see how good a score this is. 6 balls remain in the innings. Pavely to face the first of them. It's going to be bowled by Graham. And it's hit over extra cover. Looking for the boundary out there, and it crosses it with ease. 136 for 7. A nice smooth swing of the bat. And away the ball goes. Really nice stroke to start the final over.
It's a nice clean strike, that, and a little bit of extra pace with Graham bowling, you know, gives you that chance to make the most of that. Whereas again, when you're facing Gordon, you know, you've got to add everything. Hence the reason people are coming down the wicket and you lose your shape. Actually, that was a nicely timed and very effective blow.
The spinners taking all the wickets bar 1 so far. 136 for 7 the score, and it will remain there, will it? No, they're going to scamper a leg by and take it up to 137. Georgia Davis quickly through.
Yeah, no, that's a good run, and it's sometimes, you know, as I've watched a few of these games, that not just with Sparks, but that intensity, that I'm picking up any single, doesn't matter if you've hit it or not. Let's just pick up every single run in these kind of 20 over games. You just don't know really, and it often come down to that 1, 2, 3, 4 run differences, and the fact you've turned a couple of 1s into 2s.
Here is Davis, bat raised above the stumps, brings it down to swat it into the leg side. Looks for a second, but it won't be there. So 138 for 7. The Graham going for 18 off that first over, so she's come back well here to record figures of 38 for 1 at the moment, but still has 3 balls to bowl in this over, the final one of the Sparks innings. Tapping the bat is Pavely. Found a nice boundary from the first ball this over, hits that one back at the bowler and will almost be run out because she was so far down the track that she had to dive back for a ground in the end. Does make it 138 for 7. It remains with the dot ball. That
was very tight. That was a very nice piece of fielding actually from the bowler to turn and throw. Yeah, but more again, very importantly, no run. So 2 balls to go.
Graham to bowl the first of them. Hit back at her again by Pavely, and again she throws it back to the wicketkeeper, but Pavely was a little less far advanced this time. So another precious dot ball from the Blazers' point of view, and it looks as if they will be chasing around about that 140 mark. Let's see what Pavely can add to the 138 from this final ball.
And she's bowled very full these last 2 balls, and that's proved very difficult to get away.
The school children roaring in the bowler,
And-
and they see a wicket from the final ball of the over. Pavley trying to hit it over the leg side, misses and loses her middle stump as a result. She is bowled 139 then will be the chase for the Blaze against the Central Sparks here. So 139 will be required for victory after 138 for 8. We'll take you through the scorecard in just a moment. If you're off to make a cup of tea or anything like that, do make sure you rejoin us for the second part of this game. But let's get some thoughts on that innings from Barbara Daniels. What did you make of it as a whole?
Yeah, it's been a sort of an innings of a few different parts, really, isn't it? It was a slow start in the power play, and then once those fielding restrictions went, that seemed to free the openers up to be scoring more quickly. And it looked like they were setting themselves up for well over 150. But again, they've lost in their last 2 overs. I think they've lost 3 or 4 wickets, haven't they? So, it's been a bit of a disappointing finish, but nonetheless a defendable target.
Well, thank you to Barbara. We will have more thoughts from her in the second innings of this game. We'll have more thoughts from Georgia Ralph as well, the Leicestershire cricketer, and we will also have Claire Jenkins coming back on commentary. Let's just run you through the card very quickly then. Davina Perrin made 37 at the top of the innings, hit a 6 down the ground as well, but was caught by Claridge off the bowling of Groves. She was batting with Abby Freeborn. They put on 67 together. Freeborn second to go with a score on 89, caught by Ballinger off the bowling of Glenn. Then Eve Jones came in. She made 8 runs off 6 balls and was out with the score on 101, caught by Groves off the bowling of Ballinger. The only wicket to fall to Seam until the final over when Graham, or the final ball when Graham got the second one. Courtney Webb then was out for 5. She was caught by Gordon off the bowling of Groves. Amy Jones still at the wicket at this point. She lost Katie George at the other end, who made 4 from 4 balls, caught by Gordon off the bowling of Graham. Then Amy Jones was out for 36 of 26 balls in 37 minutes, including 5 fours. She was bowled by Kirsty Gordon, who doubled her wickets tally in the same over by bowling Emily Arlott for 0. That left Pavley and Georgia Davis to see things through. Pavley was out from the final ball of the innings, bowled by Graham for 8. So the total 138. The chase will be 139. The bowling figures: Grace Ballinger, 4 overs, 1 maiden, 16 for 1. Sarah Glenn, 3 overs, 26 for 1 with no maidens. 3 overs, no maidens, 31 for no wicket for Catherine Bryce. 4 overs, no maidens, 14 for 2 for Kirsty Gordon, who's a top wicket taker in the competition, now has 19 and continues with very tidy figures again. Heather Graham, 4 overs, 38 for 2, so came back well, having gone for 18 in that first over. And Josie Groves, 2 overs, 13 for 2 with no maidens. Do make sure you rejoin us for the chase, where the Blaze will require 139 to beat Central Sparks and secure top spot in the table. Both sides go into finals day, but looking to secure their positions in the table. The Sparks third, the Blaze looking to secure top spot if they can get 139.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Edgbaston for the second half, as it were. Central Sparks taking the field, led by Eve Jones, who's been off on she missed a couple of games with the concussion precautionary stops. Back in again, leading the side, and they have set the blaze 139 to win this game. We're thinking, we've just been chatting in the interval, we think it's probably 15 to 20 runs short, but we shall see. A couple of early wickets will make all of that change, won't it, Barbara?
Well, yes, we hope so. You never know, do you, till it's over? So
No.
yeah, I think Sparks would feel, they were perhaps 15 or 20 runs short, but the game's on, and it's still here to be won, and they could do a similar job of putting pressure on, from early on and making it just hard to find those boundaries. And yeah, always interesting to see, if a couple of wickets go down quickly for any team, there is pressure. So, so yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and it should still be a close game.
Yes, and the news from the other key game, which is about who finishes where in that top four. So we know these two teams are in semi-finals. We're not sure who's going to play who. So one plays 4, 2 plays 3, and the game at Hove, which is the key one. Vipers got 179 for 5, and South East Stars are 4 without loss, but just in that first over. So South East Stars need 176 off their nearly 20 overs there. Meanwhile, up at Chelmsford, down at Chelmsford, Western Storm got 142 for 7 against Sunrisers. So Sunrisers about to start that. And at Chesterley Street, Northern Diamonds are 13 for 1 in response to Thunder's 61 all out. Ouch. Thunder not doing well, and especially away from home, and that's really sunk them their away form as Arlott comes in to Graves, who plays it in the air straight to Courtney. Eve Jones at cover there, I think. Oh, a wicket first ball. That was I've only just done the scores, Barbara.
I'm not sure anybody can quite believe that, because that looked like it was happening in slow motion.
Yes, everyone just sort of their mouths are open. First ball then. So Central Sparks will be well chuffed with themselves to get a wicket first ball, as Graves is caught in the covers for no runs, as umpires Sue Redfern and Gabby Brown come together to have a little chat, and Katie George has come over for a friendly chat with them too.
It's quite interesting. It's just quite hard to see what went on there. I suspect that she thought the ball it was going to come faster than it did. I think she was just through the shot a little bit early, and therefore just spooned it up.
Maybe a slower ball from Emily Arlott.
It might have been, but for an easy catch. Well, that's couldn't ask for a better start. If you're a Sparks fan, if one happened to be.
If one happened to be. But of course, we have to be neutral here on the commentary, Barbara.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes. As Emily Arlott returns to the start of her run-up on the 25-yard circle at the Birmingham end. Sue Redfern just explaining the action. Right arm over to the new batter, Catherine Bryce, who's going to be, I think, in demand of the franchise circuit. Brilliant player. She comes forward and plays that into the leg side, and there is no run. Yes, Catherine Bryce, you've got the ultimate all-rounder, a good bowler, a good batter, great leader in terms of what she's done with Scotland. They've qualified for the very first time for the World Cup, so much excitement from Cricket Scotland.
Well, did she play in the 100, Catherine Bryce?
Yes, she did. She did play in the 100. We're continuing with that. Yes, Manchester Originals, probably. That's played to point, and there's a bruise picked up at point, and there is no run. Yes, Teresa Graves was caught by Courtney Webb off the bowling of Arlott. And Arlott's been doing well this year. She's fourth in the wicket taking with 13 wickets, or 14 now, as that's played to backward point. Davina Perrin does the tidying up, and there is no run. She got four for 21 against Stars, including a hat-trick, which is a bit similar to when she bowled herself into the test side a couple of seasons ago.
Yes, that's right.
Against Vipers at Hove. She got a hat-trick there, and I think ended up with a 5 for that one on that day, and bowled herself into the England side, but she had a bit of bad luck with the England call-ups, as that's played again to Davina Perrin, and again there is no run. Yeah, she had a bit of bad luck with injuries and one thing and another, and has missed out on that on that cap, but is verging on the England side, I think.
It's great to see her back, and it's great to see her bowling very well. And I think that's, again, this level of competition. What we are seeing is, good bowlers, good batters throughout all the teams, which is fabulous to see.
Yeah. Look, into Bryce, who plays that again to David. It's like a replay. A replay here.
Well, that's a wicket maiden, isn't it?
It is a wicket maiden, indeed. So it's a good bit of bowling there from Emily Arlott, who is going to keep her place in those bowling rankings.
Did we start with a maiden in the first innings? I think we did, didn't we? So
we did, yes, because Grace Ballinger was bowling
That's
very well
right.
with the old, throwing dot balls. Emily Arlott was rested against the Vipers, as was Hannah Baker, but they're back in the side today. So we're seeing a little bit of rotation from Central Sparks, which is, I think, will bode them well for the finals, because if you need to play different players, and they've all had match practice in the Charlotte Edwards Cup as Grace Potts prepares to come on. More pace from the pavilion end. Grace Potts also doing well in terms of got England A call up, etc. So right arm over. That's played to point. Oh, it's a great stop from Davina Penn. I love a bit of point. That was my position. Oh, good bit of fielding.
I do love a good bit of fielding, and I think she's exceptional. Again, this is only the second time I've seen her live, but in that backward point position, she's very fast and she's quick to dive. You'd be very careful about sneaking a single, I think.
Yeah. Where did you field, Barbara? Did you ever field? Were you multilingual? Did you play everywhere? As Potts comes in again to Marie Kelly. Plays that down in front of her, and there is no run. Marie Kelly, ex-Central Sparks, of course, has extra spice with that.
I was sort of multilingual. I could be found in the slip sometimes, but I'd often would field in the circle, in the ring, and I had a really good throw from very short distances.
It's a feeling familiarity. I had no throw, so I had to field close in, and my reactions are good, so that put me at point as Potts comes into Marie Kelly. Plays that down. She's going to take a run this time. Determined.
That's a good single.
They'd obviously sent a memo there, hadn't they? We're going to take a quick single. So 1 on the board. First runs on the. I don't know. I'm not laughing for just because it's a significant moment to get the 1 run on the board. So 1 for 1.
But that's a really well taken single. We were saying earlier that with the fielding circle being 25 yards, metres, whatever.
20 yards it is. Yeah.
Rather than 30, it's quite tight, and so much as you think the first 6 overs should be a run fest, actually it can feel quite hard to just hit any gaps. So I think that's a very smartly taken single.
It is a smartly taken single. Potts to Bryce, just dabs that down, and there is no run. Yeah, we were debating about it. That 25-yard circle in the women's game, I think, is a disadvantage to the batting side in some ways, because the fielders are so close, there are so few gaps. I would be in favour of moving it out to the men's 30-yard circle, and then let's open those gaps a bit, and I think you might see a benefit to the batting side, because it's supposed to benefit the batting side by having the fielding restrictions, as that's played to short mid-wicket, and Katie George does a lovely dive, picks that up.
You can see what she's trying to do there, Bryce, just because I guess if she gets that slightly further away from her, then that's into a gap for an easy 2, possibly a 4. But that's good fielding so far, and this is again a very tight start. But yeah, I think I'm with you. These are decent length boundaries, aren't they? But I think that extra few yards in that circle just changes the angles totally. Yeah,
it does. As Potts comes into Bryce, who plays that sliced past Katie George. She thought she was in there to third. And they get through for a single. And that's the end of the over. 2 overs gone. Blaze are 2 runs for 1 wicket. Bryce and Kelly on a run each. Chasing 139 down. Only 137.
Well, so a similar shape to the first inning so far, but obviously there's a wicket been lost. But yes, it's not proving easy to score the runs. And, well, with very accurate bowling. And it is actually just swinging a little bit, I think, at the moment. And backed up by excellent fielding. There's potential for a bit of overhead conditions, isn't there? We've got some fluffy clouds, sunshine, and you'll hear the hubble of local school children, which I think is a
Lovely initiative here from Central Sparks. It's a single header, but they're bussing in kids and they're having a lovely time, and they'll have all the selfies and that with the players afterwards of both sides, no doubt, as Arlock comes in. That's played through the point gap.
That's a good shot.
Again, to chase that down, Davina Perrin's going to haul that in, brings it back to Amy Campbell, who throws that back in again. So another couple to the total, 4 for 1.
That was nicely played, very well run down. But again, and they got 2. I think there could be 3 there if they're really really pushing. So it's quite a throw from right from the boundary edge.
Yeah. Maybe they thought it was going to go for 4, but Davina Perrin was a bit faster as Potts comes in to Catherine Bryce. And that's played into the leg side, straight to Katie George, and there is no run. Catherine Bryce is number 1 in the Charlotte Edwards runs top 10, as it were. Yeah, number 1 and number 1 in the most 4s, and second in the most 6s.
Wow.
Hit in the Charlotte Edwards. So yes, doing well. I think is the she did play in the Women's Premier League. Of course, the Women's IPL as Arlock comes in to Bryce, who swipes at that 2 point, and there is a shy at the stumps. It's a direct hit. What does Sue Redfern say? Not out. Oh, the middle stump came right out. Oh, you were talking about great fielding. That's from point there on the 25-yard circle at 45 degrees. Middle stump goes flying there.
That's an excellent piece of fielding. She's just illustrating what we said. How she's very quick. She's got that. See, that's that kind of. I like to remember I threw like that. It might not have been, but that fast throw, direct hit. That must have been very close.
It must have been very close.
But it does, and again, that already that you're worried as a batter about whether you take a run to her or not.
Pressure on, isn't it? As Kelly faces. Oh, swipes at that down the leg side. Abby Freeborn throws a glove off, but they don't get a run.
We see in that kind of aura of a fielder that saves you runs, because there are just runs that people they choose not to take. So even if you don't touch the ball, the fact that you know it's her, you're already thinking, I've got to get this entirely right before I decide to go.
I think great fielding is often underrated as setting the tone for the whole thing, isn't it? As Arlock comes in, that's played to the leg side as a gap there. That's going to be 4 runs. 4 runs there to Marie Kelly, former Central Sparks player. Through the mid-wicket area, I suppose extra special when you hit it against your former team. And Central Sparks are 9 for 1.
I think Emily Arlott would be a bit disappointed with that, because that was too short, and it's not fast enough to really cause a problem, and it's an awful lot of space out there.
It is. I think Katie George is hoping she's going to get a catch there. Arlott comes in again, and Katie George nearly got that. Oh, it went underneath the second field. That's going to go for another 4. Is it going to? And that's the rope. Yeah. 4 more runs to Marie Kelly. She moves on to 9. Catherine Bryce on 4. Blaze on 13 for 1. And that's the end of the over. 3 overs gone.
Well, that was a very nice shot, actually. That's a very nice on-drive. Just threaded between 2 fielders. I think the second fielder, I couldn't quite see who that was, might have felt they could have got a hand on that. But that's it. You've got to. I think, as you say, the fielding is so important. I do think it's underestimated when we just look at batting and bowling. It can make the difference between, you winning games easily, and it just. I used to love fielding, and it just. If you don't, it's such a massive part of the game. You're on the pitch all this time, and you can have such an impact.
You have to teach yourself to love fielding, don't you?
Yeah.
It used to get in the way of the batting for me, but and then I had to teach myself to love it. That's worked into the backward of square. Amy Campbell running round. They're going to think about 2. I don't know why there was a hesitation, because they possibly could have got 3 if they were really fast there. 2 runs to the total, and Blaze move on to 15 for 1.
So really, we've only got 3 on the leg side. There's a massive space between square leg right through to the keeper. So you can't really afford to bowl it straight here.
No.
You've got to be looking at that off stump and outside.
Yep. Catherine Bryce to face Grace Potts. Red heels running away from us. Oh, jam down's a great ball there. It's good. Just jam that down. Keep that out.
Again, there's just a little bit of shape on that, isn't there? And and a good Yorker there. So that was a good comeback. After that one, just been able to be tipped round the corner.
Yep. This Potts played in the England A side against New Zealand in the winter, so valuable experience, I'm sure, as she starts out her career. Catherine Bryce plays that into the posh side, straight to the cover fielder, Eve Jones, and they only get a single there. I'm teasing. That's one more, 16 for 1. I'm teasing Barbara because she told me that was the posh side.
It is the posh side. Well, it's a nice
She
shot.
said it's not even her copyright. I'm telling
No,
everybody.
I
I'm
don't.
telling everyone it's your phrase.
Oh no, it's come from years and years and years ago. But again, nice shape on that delivery and a good sharp stop there. But a good, well taken single.
That's it. Potts to Kelly. Plays that into the leg side. There is a gap there. Amy Campbell's got a long way round, but she's going to pull that in. And they get through for... Was that 2?
Two, yeah, no, that was 2.
There. So that was... Yeah, but it's a long way out there.
Well, it's a long way out and she's on her
it's
own.
Stop it. And
so
yeah, and she's got to do all that work.
And I think I'm right in saying that through the whole of the Sparks innings, the fielders out there on the leg side were in from the boundary, so that you know, actually they cut the angles down and it was quite hard to get to, whereas at the moment that's a definite 2.
Yeah.
Because that's a long way out.
It is. They're reinforcing that side. They brought Katie George into short fine.
So she's come out of slip, hasn't she, I think?
Yeah, she's come out of... Yeah, she was slip as Potts comes in. 18 for 1. Oh, it's a
That's
good
well
ball.
bowled.
That's well bowled, and there is no run. It's only defended down to Eve Jones, captain of the Sparks. And Callum Insall tells me this is the last game we're going to play at Edgbaston as Central Sparks. Last home game at Edgbaston, because we've got a game at Moseley and some games at Worcester late in the season. So it's a historic moment,
Yes.
Barbara. You just need to take a moment then.
Well, we do need to take a moment. They will be back, obviously, just as
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah,
But
yes, I mean,
But
yes,
yeah.
whatever they're called, as Potts comes in. That's played down. We're going to take a quick single there. It's what you've been encouraging them to do, Barbara.
Yeah,
Just one.
and I think
There
there's
ought
got
to be one.
There's
there,
got to be more of that. And I say, not just watching Sparks the other day. I think that whilst it is tight in the circle, if you play it soft hands, if you both go, if you're all ready to run, you've got to keep doing that. And I think, and then it encourages at least one fielder either side to come in a bit closer, and that immediately changes your angle. So you have got a gap. And I think I'd like to see more of that across from the matches I have been watching. Generally, that sort of notion of it's not only about having to smack the ball over the top. You know,
sometimes those quick singles can be as important, can't they?
well,
rotating
I just
strike
think you've got to keep
and
doing them as
twos
well.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
if-
right.
if you
It's,
have-
it's a mix, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's 4 overs gone. Blaze on 19 for 1. Catherine Bryce on 7 and Marie Kelly on 12. We've got Caris Pavley, so we've got a change of bowling from the Birmingham end. Left arm around the wickets to Kelly. Comes forward but can only play that to Eve Jones, and there is no run.
So again, interesting. I think the spinners did, or the slower bowlers did much of the damage, didn't they, in the first innings, and harder to get away.
Pace off
Potentially.
potentially. Oh, that was obviously thought it's going towards the boundary, but Eve Jones thought she was in for a catch there, and she did dive forward, but it was diving. It was just a few inches too far there. As the score moves on to 23 for 1. She thought she was in there.
She
didn't
did think she was in there. It was a nice shot in the end. It was just,
Just underneath and
tantalising, and she
yeah,
just couldn't get a hand on it either to stop the fall.
sort of underneath and round the fielder. Yes, a sort of a golf fading the ball there. As that's played to extra cover, and that's it's fielded neatly there by Amy Campbell, and there is no run. 23 for 1 in reply to 139 from Central Sparks. That's worked to short mid-wicket, but there is no run there. That's well cut off by Courtney Webb, I think, there in the short. And the noise you can hear is school children who are in for the day, and they're having a lovely time down there below us. And it's carved through cover point. There's 2 fielders after it, but I don't know that
She's going to get it. She's going to get it. Yes.
Oh, she did. Davina Perrin did a dive there, and timed it perfectly to stop that, and then Amy Campbell does the tidying up. That was a great. I thought that was going then, Barbara.
I just thought she might get it, and she did. I mean, we're not getting any replay to see how close she was to the rope, but I think it's a very good stop. I think they ran 3 there.
As long as it didn't run 5. I can remember a time in county championship time at Cambridge University where we didn't have the guts to tell Kat Hayward that they actually ran 5. Well, she ran ahead after this ball. Last ball was over. Oh, a bit of funky down, sort of fine where the slips would have been, They're going to get 2. There's a bit of hesitation, but they are going to get 2. Oh, Abby Freeborn's been tested as well. Everyone's getting tested there. That's the end of the over. 5 overs gone. Blaze are 28 for 1, Bryce on 9, Kelly on 19, and a few words from Barbara.
Yeah, well, a brilliant start from Sparks, obviously, with the wicket first ball, and with 2 very tidy overs to start with. But the pace has picked up now from a Blaze point of view, and very even, I would say, at the moment.
Yeah, very even indeed. Our thanks to Barbara Daniels, and we'll also bring in Georgia Ralph alongside myself, Mike Perkins, on the Central Sparks YouTube stream. 28 for 1 then the score, with Georgia Davis about to rejoin the attack from the, or to join the attack for the first time, in fact, from the pavilion end. Georgia Davis coming in then to bowl her off spin. Very useful cricketer indeed, and her first one is thrown up onto the toes of Marie Kelly, who clips it leg side but without finding a run. The chanting has started from the school children. You spotted something very interesting indeed, I thought, Georgia Ralph, at the start of this innings, which we'll come on to after this ball from Georgia Davis, which is chipped up over the infield on the offside. There will be 2 on offer for Marie Kelly, and she takes them gratefully to take the score 30 for 1. An interesting choice made with the gloves here, Georgia Ralph.
Yeah, interesting that Abby Freeborn's taken the gloves today and not Amy Jones on her return from England duties. Yeah, very interesting choice.
Last couple of games it was Jones, but gone the other way today of Sparks, so I don't know if we should read anything into that or not, really. It's difficult to say, as that one's dabbed behind square on the offside. 31 for 1. As far as we know, Amy Jones will be available for finals day. In fact, if anything, we think there'll be more England players available for finals day. Potential for Nat Siver-Brunt maybe to come in and help the Blaze as Georgia Davis bowls. This one's hit up and over the offside again for the second time in the over. This time it's Catherine Bryce using that route, and she gets back for 2. 33 for 1 then. Reminder, another 106 runs to win here. The chase 139. Elsewhere, the Vipers have set 180 for the South East Stars to win their game at Hove. The Stars in reply 37 for 3 as Davis bowls, and this one is hit away into the offside. There will be another run on offer to Catherine Bryce, who is in real form with the bat. Scores of 14, 57, 54, 46, 21, 57, 61, 31, 4 in this competition this season. So she is the top run scorer at the moment, as the 26-year-old, as Kelly tries to work leg side, dabs it into her own pad in the end and doesn't get a run as a result. So that's 345 runs at 43 for Catherine Bryce. And the other thing we worked out before was that the bonus point target for Southern Vipers would be to bowl the South East Stars out for 143 or less. So if they can do that, which they perhaps could, looking at the score at the moment of 37 for 3 in that game chasing 180, that would provide a bonus point and mean that Sparks would have to win to hold on to 3rd spot. So it's all to play for here, Georgia.
Yes, it really is. I think the Blaze were unfortunate to lose that early wicket, but they're starting, Bryce and Kelly here are starting to build a bit of a partnership. Don't want to speak too soon, but it's looking strong for them so far.
Here is Catherine Bryce, who's adding to those 345 runs she came into the game with another single into the offside, a cut out to the cover boundary. 35 for 1. As the school children continue to chant. Baker to bowl her second ball then of this innings. 139 is what Blaze require. If they get that, they will finish top, and we'll get a repeat of this game and a repeat of the game down at Hove, as Davina Perrin, who's been excellent throughout this innings in the field, manages to scamper around from backward point and get a left hand to the ball, just stretching it out in the nick of time to keep the score into 1. 36 for 1.
She really is shining in the field today, isn't she? That was an excellent diving stop there for 1.
Shorter ball there from Baker, who was frustrated at it. It wasn't taken full advantage of by Catherine Bryce, but she takes 1 again out to the mid-wicket boundary. 37 for 1. Katie George, who's such a good catcher, is patrolling out there at the minute. Seems she can get under almost anything to And the ball goes up in the air in the direction of that mid-wicket boundary. Got a long on and a square leg as well, but this will be reverse swept in the opposite direction of them, down towards the boundary at third. Not even Davina Perrin can stop that one. Really neat reverse sweep by Kelly. Important runs for her against her former side. She has 27 now to her name, 41 for 1. So less than 100 needed now, 98.
Yeah, I think Kelly will be pretty happy to be getting some runs on the board. I think she's struggled to find some runs so far this season, but she's looking strong. She's looking confident actually out there with those reverse sweeps.
Sparks, who won their previous 2 games over the weekend at home, and that's what sent them to finals day, as that one is dabbed behind square off the front foot this time. 42 for 1 for Kelly. Down to third it went in the end. 2 fielders in that region at the moment. It's Bryce will face up to the field now with 3 back on the leg side, 1 on the off. Bryce hits leg side. George will come across from mid-wicket and keep it to 1. 43 for 1 then at the end of that, the 7th over of this innings. By comparison, it was 36 without loss in the Sparks innings, so very, very close. So both these sides go into finals day. Possible rematch coming up between them if it ends up that Vipers do get that bonus point down at Hove. What do you make of their chances on finals day here, Georgia Ralph?
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting outcome, but with these sides you just never know who's going to turn up on the day. We've obviously already mentioned that some of those England girls could come in and help some of these teams out and support in both with bat and ball, so it'll be interesting to see who turns up on the day, but also who shines on the day as well. Yeah,
as I say, Sparks, if they could win here, would definitely be the informed side. They'd be going in off the back of 4 straight wins, 2 of them in their previous 2 home games over the weekend, and then this one today as well, as this one is played into the offside firmly by Catherine Bryce. Almost sounded in form as it hit her bat there, and goes away to take the score to 44 for 1. But I think you're right. It just comes down to a performance on the day, doesn't it? When we look at these finals days, they are very hard to predict.
Very much so. Very much so. Just takes one player to get some quick wickets and a game changes.
George, left arm over the wicket, cut to Perrin at backward point. It picks up cleanly again, as you almost come to expect. 44 for 1 it remains.
Kelly's timing this ball nicely here. I think she's trying to pierce that gap to the left-hand side of Perrin, as she's done at the other end as well. They're just moving third man back, so there could be an opportunity for an easy one there for Kelly now. She's already looked to play that shot down there as well.
Yep, Georgia Davis has gone back down to third, as in comes Katie George. Hit up and over extra cover. There'll be 1 at least. The captain, Eve Jones, goes to pick up and will return left-handed for the cost of 2 runs in the end. 46 for 1. Another 93 required for victory. These two looking very good at the crease. Marie Kelly, of course, made a century against Southern Vipers for Central Sparks. I think it was the first one in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. T20 competition at domestic level for women. We've got the 100 coming up soon after a few more Rachel Hayer Flint Trophy games, which is the 50 over competition. Kelly can't find a route to score there. Hits mid-off in the end. 46 for 1.
Yeah, this competition might be starting to wrap up, but there's still a whole summer of women's cricket left to come, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, we're only just getting started. We've only just seen the sunshine in these last couple of games at Edgbaston, so it's certainly there to enjoy. It's shining down on that gold weather vane on top of the scoreboard as Katie George runs in from the opposite end, the pavilion end, and that one's flicked round the corner by Kelly. She's going to look to find the boundary, and there was an attempt at a sliding stop, but it just went away from the fielder and onto the rope, and it brings up the 50 for the Blaze. 50 for 1 with that 4 runs, and Marie Kelly's 34 has been integral to it. She looks in good form today. Now, she did an interview before, after hitting that 100 before the start of the next season, saying what I think I'll politely say to our viewers on the Central Sparks YouTube stream was swear word mode, that she would go into, where she would just throw absolute caution to the wind and try and hit everything, to use that expression. She's more watchful here, just pushing into the offside. 51 for 1. That was very much her approach that season, and she looked almost at that time as if she was kind of revolutionising the way teams at this level, at this domestic level, were going about the top of the innings. But she seems to have gone back into maybe just being a little bit more thoughtful about her innings, and she's playing very well here today.
Yeah, I mean, my earliest memory of Marie Kelly was back when she was 17, used to open the batting for Warwickshire with her twin sister Sian, and the pair of them scored a century each. So
they went into swear word mode that day.
Unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of it, but it was a brilliant innings to watch from both of them.
Here comes Hannah Baker as Kelly flicks this one firmly into the leg side, wide of long on, and that will bring 2 runs to Emily Arlett out there. 55 for 1 now. Kelly running hard between the wickets, hitting the pockets, looking in a bit of control at the moment. So much so that she pulls away here because Arlett hadn't gone all the way back to her long on position, and she wanted to know exactly where she was. Kelly can't find a way to score there, is wrapped on the pads, and it dribbles away behind square on the offside. 53 for 1 the score, another 86 required. Baker throws it up, Kelly down the track, hits it firmly to long on, but straight there this time, so there's only 1 on offer. 54 for 1.
Yeah, I think Baker's bowling plan here is to get it into the batter's pads and force them to play that shot out to the boundary, because they're only going to score 1 from it each time. And now we see it again. Yep.
Catherine Bryce sweeping this time out. She did throw that one slightly more outside off stump, but Bryce had moved across as well. It did just produce the 1 run. 55 for 1 as the flags continue to flutter at the far end. And Kelly comes down the track and will hit this one over the top of Georgia Davis, who got hands to it, perhaps should have clung on. There's a tight second run that Catherine Bryce gets through for 57 for 1. Kelly dropped on 38. How crucial could that be, Georgia Ralph?
Could be very crucial. I mean, in comparison to the 2 sides so far, Blaze were very clinical in their fielding. They took their catches, they took their opportunities.
As Marie Kelly plays leg side, we'll pick up a single out to Katie George on the boundary.
But I feel Sparks just need to tidy up their fielding a little bit. We've obviously seen some great fielding from Perrin, but yeah, we've seen a few hands to balls that have just gone through to the boundary, and I think it's a total that they need to be clinical here. So yeah, I'm sure Eve Jones is probably asking a little bit more from her fielders here.
139 the chase. We're approaching the halfway point in it. We've had 9 overs, 58 for 1 the score, so another 81 runs required here. 66 balls to get them from. Plenty of spectators away to our left, school children there as well, and they're certainly enjoying their day. A sunny day here in Birmingham. A little bit of cloud bubbling up in the sky as we look out towards the city. See the high-rise buildings and the spires and the cranes as in comes Georgia Davis, and that's a missed stumping for Abby Freeborn, who's got the gloves in place of Amy Jones here today. And it was Kelly who dropped on 38, now a missed stumping chance on 41. She's riding her luck in these last couple of balls. Still 81 more needed. Had looked in control to that point. Just plays up to long on now. The inside half of the bat. 59 for 1 the total moves on to. Feels very in the balance here.
Really does. I think batters are looking to use their feet here to the spinners, and that's what Marie Kelly's just done there, and unfortunate on that stumping for Abby Freeborn.
Cut stroke, which is well fielded again by Perrin. Has made backward point her own and stopped that one again. 59 for 1 it remains. 4th ball of the 10th over of the innings. Cut away this time past Perrin, out to Katie George on the boundary. Formidable duo those two to try and beat, particularly when you've got Courtney Webb at extra cover as well. They do so on this occasion for 1, 60 for 1 the score. Georgia Davis Bowling right arm over from the pavilion end. Down the track comes Kelly. Hits it hard, actually. Harder than it first looked, and straight as well. And that brings 4 runs. 64 for 1. Marie Kelly on to 46. She's been given a couple of lives. And she looks, with a stroke like that, as if she's going to try and take advantage of them.
Yeah, she's definitely taken advantage of those 2 missed wickets of her own. And I think she's one of those players that as soon as she gets going, she continues right through to the end.
It's a firm stroke, straight of Emily Arlett. Had absolutely no chance of getting across. It means Georgia Davis is going to go around the wicket with 3 back on the leg side, 1 on the off. She bowls to Kelly, who works off her pads, but won't get more than 1 there. So she's on 47. It's the end of the 10th over, so we'll bring back Claire Jenkins in place of myself, Mike Perkins, after a thought from Georgia Ralph.
Yeah, it's looking really good from Bryce and Kelly here. They're really forming this partnership well, and exactly what they needed after that early wicket in the first ball of the innings. They're looking strong, they're timing the ball well, and they're really finding the gaps in the field here.
Yeah, starting to get established now, aren't they? And Kelly moves towards that potential 50 milestone, which I'm sure she'll be delighted to pick up here, but Central Sparks may not be quite as delighted to see their former player coming back and knocking runs off them as Courtney Webb comes in from the Birmingham end. Kelly comes forward and nearly takes Catherine Bryce out of that. Thumps the ball to long on. There's a lovely twirl there on the boundary, and they get through 4. She nearly took her out then, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. A lovely bit of movement on the ball there from Courtney Webb as well. A little bit of in-swing there.
Courtney Webb in her first over for today. Right arm over, medium pace. Played over that, and Amy Campbell comes herring in from the boundary, and tests Abby Freeborn. It's well over Abby Freeborn. Fortunately, Grace Potts was doing the tidying up. Score moves to 67 for 1. We're in the second half now, as it were. We've got a DLS score somewhere on the board as well, or it was up earlier on. I'll come back to that later as Webb comes into Kelly. A little dabble at that outside a point. Davina Perrin doing some brilliant fielding there. In fact, so good they're going to burgle a second out of that. There might be more. No, just one lot of buzzers. Burgled a run there, didn't they? 69 for 1.
Backs up what I said earlier about the clinicalness of the fielding just hasn't quite been there from the Sparks so far.
And that's the 50 up for Marie Kelly there. That extra burgled run as she gets congratulated by Catherine Bryce, who was in earlier than Marie Kelly. So Kelly's moved on here, comes forward, plays that towards Gabby Brown at the square leg, and Katie George cuts that off, and they get through for a single. 70 for 1. Bryce on 19, anchoring an innings here, and Marie Kelly, former Central Sparks, 51. Chasing that 139 down that Sparks set them in the first innings. That's worked into the leg side. And they're going to get 1, they're thinking about 2, but decide against it. 71 for 1. Blaze batting in this Charlotte Edwards Cup, the T20 competition between the 8 English Regional Centres of Excellence as they are now. There'll be Tier 1 counties next year as Kelly crouches. That's played to Amy Campbell, an extra cover comes in from the boundary. They just get the single. 72 for 1. That's 11 overs gone, and Bryce on 20, Marie Kelly on 52.
Both looking very comfortable here. That last shot there was beautifully timed, well watched, well waited for, and she knew exactly what she was doing and executed it exactly how she wanted to do so. And I think that's, you always see when players are timing the ball well, that's when they're at their most confident. Yeah, I think you're right there, because we talked about Central Sparks probably leaving 15-20 runs short, potentially, was the sort of view as we were having a little chat
at the interval, and they needed, Central Sparks definitely needed that early wicket, which they got, first ball of the game, but since then these two have built on that, and Central Sparks are going to bring on Emily Arlott, who's just moving one of the 25-yard markers, Kelly to face. Oh, up in the air. It's going to go into a gap because there's nobody underneath that one as Eve Jones and Georgia Davis go round to field that. That was up in the air, but definitely into a gap there as Blaze move on to 74 for 1.
Yeah, definitely think the decision on bringing Arlott back on is to find that second wicket. She obviously got the first, and she's a bowler that gets wickets, 13 wickets from 8 games so far. So
Arlott, doesn't quite time that. It goes to mid wicket, and Katie George has to come in off the boundary to field that, and they only get 1 run.
I think Arlott's chucked a slower ball in there. I know that's one of the many variations she's got in her locker. Definitely a player that works hard. I know her from many years ago, and she actually took a little break from cricket for a while. But yeah, she's always worked hard when she has been playing.
Bryce, slices at that one. It's going to go towards the boundary. I think we're looking for another 4 on it. Trying to chase it down, but no, that's a 4 runs to Catherine Bryce there. 79 for 1 are the Blaze. Didn't play it, I don't know if she necessarily knew what was going to happen there. It sort of sliced it off the edge and it went running away. It almost feels like downhill because we're looking at the pitch from such a height here at Edgbaston, but it couldn't be hauled in by Hannah Baker there, unfortunately, as Arlott comes back in again to Catherine Bryce. Again, tempted in that point area. They get through for a single. Katie George throwing in from the rope to Abby Freeborn, who's behind the wickets. Amy Jones, we seem to have spotted, is off the field. We've got Amy Campbell on fielding instead of Amy Jones. We're not sure what's happening there. Maybe keeping Amy Jones in cotton wool somewhere. We're not sure. As Arlott comes into Kelly, and that's swept onto the leg side. Amy Campbell, the aforementioned. They only got 1 there, didn't they? It was a huge shot.
Yeah.
It seemed like a huge shot. It sort of feels like there ought to be more runs in that, but it was so efficiently hit to the fielder that there was only the single there. That almost begs Barbara's hoping that they're going to take more 1s and 2s, but Blaze could easily have hit that, in fact, less hard. They probably could have run 3 if they'd popped that in the gap. Arlott comes into, there's a peel, but Gabby Brown is unmoved, but it is a dot ball, which is handy because that's the end of the over. So 12 overs gone. Blaze are 81 for 1, Bryce on 25, Kelly on 56. In the sunshine here at Edgbaston, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Arlott's done her job there in trying to create chances. That first ball fell just short of the fielder. That final ball of the over being a close call on the LB as well. So she's done her job there. She's definitely, I'm imagining, going to come back on for another over in the hunt of that second wicket to break this partnership.
Yeah, so the Blazes' 1 wicket that fell was Teresa Gray's on the first ball of the game, where Courtney Webb took a catch off Arlott. So they are, as Georgia said, hunting that second wicket as Baker comes on from the Birmingham end. Baker also made her way into the England A side over the winter, played in New Zealand. To Kelly. Rocks back, plays that to point, and even Davina Perrin can't get that, but Courtney Webb's after it. She's going to stop that before the boundary. And how many they run in there? They get 2 there. They must have got 2 there. Yes, they did, because Kelly's still facing this end.
I'm sure Baker's probably also hunting for that Catherine Bryce wicket that she got in the earlier T20 game between these two sides.
Great spot, and that's played up and over that's 4 runs, glorious runs there. It's a great shot. The umpire had to duck out of the way there. 4 runs to the total 87 for 1 are Blaze, chasing down that 139 that Central Sparks got. And Sue Redfern's just asking to check the condition of the ball there, since it's went quite a long way there. It was a beautiful shot. Lovely sweet timing, and they're going to send a fielder to the boundary rope to stop that ever happening again, as Baker decides what she's going to serve to Marie Kelly this time, who has to play that to point underneath Davina Perry, and he makes a spectacular dive, but they get through for a single. Courtney Webb's pointing at her, and they do a high five, and the score moves on to 88 for 1. Baker, triggers. She's triggered a long way to the offside, and they're appealing for all sorts. There's all sorts going on there, but they get through for a single. 88 for 1. Lots going on there, weren't there, Georgia?
Seems to have missed everything, that one.
Baker to Kelly again. Underneath the bat this time. Baker tries to sort of weave a web of magic, all sorts of like bamboo.
You can see what Kelly's trying to do there. She's noticed the fielder out on the boundary at cover, and I think she's just trying to work it for 1, maybe even 2 if they run high.
Good
there
spot, Georgia. That was exactly where she was looking, wasn't she? As Amy Campbell has to come in off the rope again to field that. That's the another over. 13 overs gone. Blaze are 90 for 1. Bryce is on 26. Kelly's on 64. And Blaze need another 49 runs to win this. Central Sparks, we think, are probably 15-20 runs short of where perhaps they could have been, certainly at the halfway stage. And they only put 139 on the board, but who knows? Sometimes you can have a low-scoring thriller, as they say. There's a cliche klaxon going off already.
Looks like we've got Georgia Davis coming back onto bowl here.
Georgia Davis, who was standing captain while Eve Jones took her precautionary break in the Worcester game and the Diamonds game. That's going straight down. Emily Arlott's going to cut that off. She is, and bats that back to her captain. They get through for 2. Looked like it was going to the boundary there. It was a really nice, literally straight drive back past the stumps.
Yeah,
and often you get runs there, don't you? But Arlott managed to cut that off and flick it back underneath us here.
She's done very well to get round to that.
Yep. And a long way down from Emily Arlott, because she's a tall figure. Georgia Davis just getting a last bit of advice from Eve Jones. And you can hear the hubble of school children. We've got busloads of school children who are making a great atmosphere here. And at the end of the game, I'm sure the players will go over and do lots of selfies and so forth, which could be treasured memories for potential future players, umpires, scorers, commentators, administrators in the cricket game. Georgia Davis going round the wicket this time to Kelly, who reverses that straight to the short third, and Katie George has a little shy at the bowler's end. There's a big appeal, but Gabby Brown says no, not out, as the bails go flying. It's a smart bit of fielding there.
Really smart. That's a really close, I think, well, we're looking end on, but I imagine that was quite a close call to make. I wouldn't have wanted to be the umpire there.
The South East Stars are in all sorts of trouble. They're 58 for 8 against Vipers, who got 179 for 5, as that's played to the point boundary for a single by Marie Kelly, and the score moves to 94 for 1. Blaze are moving towards that 100 milestone. Kelly's got 67. Catherine Bryce has 27. Georgia Davis, what can she do to break this partnership? Oh, there's a big heave, and that's going to go for 4, I think. Yeah, that's not going to get cut off. Four lovely runs there from Marie Kelly, former Central Sparks. I'm sure Central Sparks are delighted for her. And she moves on to 71. Score is 98 for 1.
That was a beautiful strike from Kelly there. She got her hands through it well, got her position set quite nicely, and from a solid base, makes it a lot easier to hit those boundaries.
Yeah, no risk along the carpet. And this time into the leg side. Emily Arlott will cut off. They're going to go for 2. It will be, the risk would have been to the other end, which would have been a massive throw. And there's an appeal at both ends. They're having a bit of a go at both ends. But the 100 is up for the Blaze, 100 for 1. Central Sparks, having taken a wicket with the very first ball of the game, did Emily Arlott to catch for Courtney Webb, and now are being made to pay with this partnership from Bryce and Kelly, as Georgia Davis coming round the wicket to Marie Kelly. She rocks back, dabs it down. Katie George is going to try and get that in fast enough, but they still get through for a single. 101 for 1, another over gone. So 14 overs gone. Blaze are 101 for 1. Catherine Bryce on 27 and Marie Kelly on 74. Blaze need another 38 runs to win. So they're playing for the places in the semi-final. So that both of these teams and the teams that I've just informed you about where Stars are struggling against Vipers. Vipers are likely to get a bonus point there and possibly leapfrog Central Sparks if they do get a bonus point there. And just a reminder, the finals day is this Saturday at Derby. 1 will play 4, 2 will play 3. So there is some jockeying for position potentially if Vipers really do finish that one off with the South East Stars, which it looks like they may well do, as Potts comes in from the Birmingham end to Marie Kelly. Who dabs that down and round. That's going to be 4 runs through, fine leg there. I'm not sure that she necessarily wanted it to go there, but she kind of swung round on it, and it went for an easy 4 runs there. Total moves on to 105 for 1. They need 34 to win. Bryce on 27, Kelly on 78 in the sunshine here at Edgbaston. You'll listen to the voice of Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire player, Georgia Ralph, who is current Leicestershire player. You will also hear the voices of Barbara B.B. Daniels and Mike Perkins at various points as Potts comes into Kelly. Plays that into the leg side to long on, and they trot through for an easy single. 107 for 1.
Yeah, I definitely think Eve Jones, captain of Sparks, is going to be crying out to our bowlers here to see who can break this partnership. I think they're going to need to start putting a bit of pressure on these batters to be able to create that opportunity to take the wicket.
Yeah, Potts who got a couple of wickets against the Vipers. Ooh, there's an appeal
And
in front of the
that's
stumps. That was messy. Is it bowled?
It's been stumped.
Oh, she's stumped by Abby Freeborn there. It looked. Let's see what happened there. It was all happened so fast. I was expecting. There was an LB call, and it was actually stumped. So, unfortunately,
I don't think Bryce knew where the ball went there. I think she wasn't sure if it had clipped her thigh pad or whatnot, and it's actually gone straight through into Freeborn's hands, who has taken the bails as Catherine Bryce has been found outside of a crease.
Because Sparks are busy appealing for LBW, so I was looking at Sue Redfern, see if she was going to give an LB, and actually Gabby Brown gave it out, stumped Abby Freeborn. So they find themselves 106 for 2. And that's Catherine Bryce departing, stumped Freeborn, bowled Potts for 27. She sort of held an end, hadn't she? 27 off 32 balls there.
Yeah, she both her and Marie Kelly have been rotating the strike quite nicely, giving Kelly the opportunity to hit the boundaries that she's been scoring, and as you say, Bryce just holding up the other end and rotating the strike quite nicely.
So we had both the Jones-Knott sisters batting for Central Sparks. We've actually got the Bryce, they are sisters, the brace of Bryces batting together here as Sarah Bryce comes to the crease. Halfway through the 15th over here, Grace Potts coming into Sarah Bryce, who's going to face her first ball. Waggling a bat, comes forward, plays it straight back to the bowler. There is no run. Catherine Bryce thought she might get have to fling herself back into the crease there. She was worried she was going to get run out at the bowler's end. She exchanges pleasantries with the umpire.
Yeah, I mean, talking of players in fine form, Sarah Bryce recently 54 not out.
Ooh, nice. Potts to Bryce, and that's swept. It's Katie George. She got a body behind it. That was a great stop from Katie George, right on the boundary there. She saved definitely a couple of runs there, which might come in handy later. 108 for 2. Blaze need another 31 runs to win this game. Can they get them, or can Central Sparks find a way through? They've got 1 wicket. Can they get another one? Sarah Bryce facing. Oh, it's down the leg side and it's signalled a wide, so that's another run and a bonus ball potentially here for Blaze in the sunshine here at Edgbaston in this Charlotte Edwards Cup clash on the Central Sparks YouTube channel. Please hit that thumbs up button if you can, because it will help more people to find this game. It could be an exciting finish here as Potts comes into Sarah Bryce. Triggers to the offside. It goes straight to Davina Perrin, who does a lovely dive and picks that up, and there is no run. So that's 15 overs gone. Blaze are 109 for 2, Sarah Bryce on 2, and Kelly on 79.
It's almost like Perrin's got a magnet on herself in the field today. Everything seems to be going to her or around her, and she seems to be pulling the dives out to save the runs at the minute. Looks like we've got Katie George coming back into the bowling attack here as well.
Yep, and thank you to Georgia Ralph as well for joining us today. We're going to bring Barbara Daniels, 1993 World Cup winner, back into the summariser's chair for the conclusion of this game. But yeah, looks like it's going to be Katie George to come on from the pavilion end and just try and make something happen here. I think they've got one of the wickets they definitely needed here, which was Catherine Bryce. Just seemed to pop up off a pad and into the hands of the wicketkeeper to let her be stumped, as in comes George and is hit in the air, and this could be the other wicket they need, but no, it's evaded the grasp of Eve Jones running back from mid-off, and Kelly, who was dropped on 38, a miss stumping on 41, and she's chipped one just out of the grasp of Eve Jones there to take her score onto 81 now, and Marie Kelly looks like winning this game for the Blaze.
That was a very difficult chance. It would have been a spectacular catch, but yeah, you're right. She has had 2 or 3 chances, but has made the most of it. She's batted very nicely in between those chances. Yeah,
she's looked in top form as Marie Kelly. Waits again for Katie George, who is cut into the offside, finds the ever reliable Perrin at backward point, who prevents a run from being scored. So it looks like we're heading for a rematch of this on finals day.
It does look like that, unless there's a sudden clatter of wickets is what Sparks need at this point.
That would help them hold on to third spot, but at the moment it looks as if Blaze will be top of the table with a win, as this one is thrashed away into the leg side. There's a tumbling stop, a brilliant tumbling stop by Pavley, who did a full flip back onto her feet there, sort of forward rolled and right back onto her feet and threw that one in. What a great piece of fielding that was. It's not often you see that on a cricket field.
That was amazing. I'm glad she hasn't hurt herself, but that was an extraordinary, yes, tumbling, literally somersaulting stop.
Kelly still takes 213 for 2. She's on 83 and just looks to dab at that one, but misses. She'll be enjoying batting at Edgbaston, having spent so much of her career at Warwickshire and the Central Sparks. Familiar surroundings for these players now to be playing at these big grounds, and Marie Kelly's making the most of it. Waits again. City of Birmingham in the distance as George bowls from the pavilion end. It's hit out once more. Slightly less spectacular fielding required on this occasion, and only one taken. Sarah Bryce, who's replaced her sister Catherine, comes to the crease and just takes her guard.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching Catherine Bryce bat, actually, and just, to watch a player with some nous who seemed to be very organised and together, and just, she picked the pace up, and I think Marie Kelly has benefited from that too. Here's
George, who bowls a ball that's slashed into the offside for one this time from Sarah Bryce. She likes to go square of the wicket. 115 for 2 She made half centuries in all but one of her innings in the first edition of the Rachel Hay of Flint Trophy just after the pandemic. Is certainly a useful player to have coming in with the bat. 115 for 2, another 24 runs then required to reach the target of 139. It looks very much in control with 24 balls remaining.
It does, and you'd think that Sparks need to. There's no way to win this except by taking wickets. So I wonder if there's anything different happening in the field here, any funky captaincy to try and work something to their advantage. Otherwise, it does feel like this is going to be a bit of a procession through, but you never know.
You do never know indeed, as Georgia Davis is going to come on and bowl her final over, and I think that's a wise move at this stage. They're going to bring Baker across into the leg side, so she's going to be bowling to a field with 5 on the leg side, 3 of them back on the rope, 2 in the ring at 45 and a straightish mid-wicket as Davis bowls, and there's a peel for cut behind, it's out. Sarah Bryce out for 3, caught by Abby Freeborn, the wicket-keeper, off the bowling of Georgia Davis. It's 115 for 3, and the game's slipping away from Sparks, you feel, but they've picked up another wicket just to keep things interesting.
Well, you don't know there whether that just moving that fielder from sort of short third across back onto the leg side, whether that just made the batter think there is a bigger space here and I'm going to play this shot. So if it did, that was great captaincy, but that's what we need. But they need probably another 2 or 3 of those very quickly to make any difference. But that's a good wicket.
It was something different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They at least changed the shape of the
Yes.
field, and it was something different, and perhaps it did just lead to the wicket. Vipers have won with a bonus point. They've won by 113 runs against the South East Stars, setting them 108 for victory. They made 66 all out. So those two sides will meet again in Derby. South East Stars will finish second. That confirms the Vipers as finishing top, but it also means the Vipers move past the Central Sparks. So they will face South East Stars unless the Sparks can do something extraordinary and win this game. The Blaze confirmed now as the side who are top, but they'd like to go there with a victory, of course, and they'd like to be going in having only lost 1 game in their group stage matches. They got to finals day last year, did the Blaze. Sparks have been there once before as well. Heather Graham, the Australian, coming out to try and finish this one off then. Still 24 required, now from 23 balls after the wicket, and now from 22 with the dot ball to Hannah Baker in the straight mid-wicket position. They've even brought mid on up as well now. There's a cover and a mid off as Graham comes down the track and again can't find a run. So just a little bit of pressure building here. It's a get Marie Kelly on strike job, you feel at this point. Perrin at backward point. There's a cover fielder on the boundary too. Davis bowls. Graham goes over the top and finds a route out towards the wide long on boundary.
That's a good throw.
George looking for the direct hit, and Kelly's innings could have ended in strange fashion there. Just couldn't seem to find a straight route to the crease and had to evade Hannah Baker in the end. And the direct hit would have caused her problems. It was Katie George coming all the way round from mid-wicket. Great throw.
That was great. So it's very good fielding, because I think that would have been another tight run out. There's been a couple of those in this game.
117 for 3 it takes the score to. 22 more required. Davis bowls, hit up to mid-off. And again it's a dot ball for Heather Graham. And there are now just the 19 balls remaining to chase these 22 runs. Still no panic for the Blaze here. They send long on back to Central Sparks and they take out that mid-wicket as well, bring that fielder into short third along with the backward point. 22 more required. Graham looks towards the Birmingham end where Davis delivers a ball which is just tapped into the leg side. A single that Sparks I don't think will particularly mind, given Marie Kelly's on 84. She'd quite like 16, I think, of these remaining 21. But at the moment, she can't get the strike. Graham has it. And Marie Kelly was at the non-strikers for all of that over, in fact. Sarah Bryce out caught behind by Abby Freeborn off the first ball of it. Barbara Daniels, what are you thinking?
Well, I say it was a good wicket. Like you said, there's a bit of pressure being built up. They need some more, but yes, keeping Kelly off strike at least for the moment might prove helpful for them. But you'd still think, well, it is absolutely still massively in their favour.
Freeborn, who has the gloves instead of Amy Jones, the England wicket-keeper today, also has a stumping off the bowling of Potts to dismiss Catherine Bryce for 27, and Graves was out off the first ball, off her first ball to Courtney Webb, just hitting the first ball of the innings straight to the cover fielder off the bowling of Emily Arlott.
So yes, it did start so well. They've missed a couple of very good chances really of Sparks that have definitely made this an easier run-in for the Blaze, and they'll want to make sure that none of that happens should they be meeting again on Saturday.
Here's Pavley, who bowls and bowls Heather Graham, who is out for 3. Not a particularly fantastic innings from the Australian, that one. Charged down the track to the young left arm spinner, missed the ball completely, and he's out bowled 118 for 4. And you just never know. 21 needed now off 17 balls. Somebody's got to come in and get them.
Somebody's got to come in and get them. And the other thing you don't know, the psychological effect of this, even if Sparks to lose, and they know they're going to go and play in the semi-final against them on Saturday, the fact they're picking up wickets here and causing some problem, rather than it just drifting away to an obvious conclusion, I think is really important. As they go towards that semi-final.
Yep, Central Sparks would be the 4th place side if they lose here, so they would be going in as the outsiders. The Blaze would be going in as the informed side, having won having won all but 1 of their games, won 9 out of the 10 games. Vipers, of course, are the side that have the tradition of having won trophies, and they'll be difficult to beat on a finals day. And South East Stars have lifted the trophy in the first edition of the Charlotte Edwards Cup, so that was the time that Sparks got to finals day as well, as that one's hit beautifully away for 4 runs, and that was exactly what the Blaze needed just to calm the nerves. Ella Claridge coming out and finding the cover boundary.
That was clarity from Claridge. I think that was a smash. That was a really good shot. That was very controlled in the way that Heather Graham wasn't the ball before. And yes, that will just calm everybody down. But I still think just a bit of pressure, take some more wickets, will help Sparks as they go through.
Yeah, it was a lovely cover drive, that one from Ella Claridge, just advancing down the track to play it. Waits in the crease this time, pushes out to cover. It's going to be a tight single, a very tight single in the end, but she makes it. 123 for 4 the score moves on to, so another 16 to win now, and another 15 balls to get them, so a bit more control reasserted from Blaze, although Marie Kelly hasn't faced any of the last 9.
No, she
so
hasn't.
She might be feeling slightly out of touch, having played so well in this innings that now goes to 85 with a pull stroke round the corner out to the backward square leg boundary.
She has played very well because it's been an unfussy innings, and actually you look up and she is on 85. But you know, the longer she's been in, the more confidence she's got. She looks a very elegant player when she's playing well.
It's come off 60 balls, that 85. It's taken the score to 1-2-4-4-4. Long discussion here between Jones, Georgia Davis, who's also been captaining the side in Eve Jones's absence, and Karis Pavley, the bowler. Claridge, who has 5 from her first 2 deliveries, faces up now. She's going to come down the track, which is probably the sensible thing to do there, although she got the result that she maybe didn't want, which was a single that brings Kelly onto strike for just 1 ball here. I think Claridge just deciding there that there was nothing to lose going for the boundary, but didn't connect. Pavley again. Left arm around the wicket, short of length. Cut by Kelly, uppishly, which kept Perrin interested. They're going to look to come back for 2. They do come back for 2, and they get there comfortably. And Kelly is on to 87 with 12 more remaining, so She would finish on an agonising 99 if she got all of them, so she might leave a few of them to Claridge, I think, who's come in and played quite nicely for that 6 and will be on strike at the start of the penultimate over of this game.
See, that's another well-run 2 there. I think, again, watching the Blaze versus Sparks batting, there's more of that. And I think particularly that was with Catherine Bryce, that placing the ball into spaces, knowing that you're going for 2, really picking up every opportunity. Even the singles they were picking up quite early in a very tight space. They looked on it in that sense, and I think Sparks could learn something from that in picking up what might be an extra 6, 8, 10 runs that makes a big difference at the end of a game. So I've been impressed with that through their innings, really.
Western Storm look like picking up a morale boosting win against the Sunrisers, which would confine them to the bottom of the table. Sunrisers needing 27 off 13 with just 3 wickets remaining. Earlier the Diamonds beat Lancashire Thunder very comprehensively by 8 wickets, I think it was, in the end in that one. And that means Diamonds also get a win, which moves them away from a little further away from the bottom of the table. As Claridge hits this one high, and she's going to beat long on and mid-wicket and hit 4 more runs to just ease the pressure on the Blaze once more. 131 for 4, and Claridge has 10 of them, and this might be exactly the sort of innings she has to come in and play on finals day. It takes her side within 8 runs to win, and these two look like they will be meeting again on finals day.
It's amazing, isn't it? In a short game like this, just 2 or 3 shots, what a difference that makes. And Claridge just come in and played hit those 2 fours, and it's just settled everybody down, except now
that's
we're going to
be caught at backward point. Hannah Baker to Davina Perrin via the bat of Ella Claridge, who came in and scored at a strike rate of more than 200, so she's done her job, but gets a top edge there as she advanced down trying to drive, and it just looped up to Davina Perrin, who took a comfortable catch off the bowling of Hannah Baker. 131 for 5 as Claridge trudges back to the pavilion. We'll need one more batter to get these remaining 8 runs, but with 10 balls remaining, it looks in control from the Blazers' point of view.
It does, and I think again, Sparks are they're going to rue those missed chances they had, which I think, you still don't know whether they've gone on to win, but I think it would have been a much tighter game if they got Kelly out much earlier. Big difference. So, but they've picked up the 5 wickets, and so they've got those are the kind of things you have to hang on to when you're then going into a semi-final where you don't want in your head, we've just lost to them.
Yeah. But they have won the 3 before this, Central Sparks, so they have the form that has taken them into finals day to work with as they go to Derby, and it's a player from Derby who comes to the wicket in the form of Sarah Glenn, the England international. As I say, best known really for what she does with the ball these days, but she certainly knows how to hold a bat and will be looking to get these 8 runs as quickly as possible.
Do I hadn't quite realised how tall Sarah Glenn is.
Yes, yeah, she's one of those deceptively tall people, actually.
She looks like she's got swimmer's shoulders, is what
she waits for the ball now and is going to look to try and play a little ramp shot. It takes her on the pad. There's all sorts of confusion now. Kelly wanted the run and gets the run off the pad of Sarah Glenn, who was left rather floundering in the middle of the pitch for a while there, but does find her way to the non-striker's end safely. 132 for 5, 7 to win.
I realise that on commentary it's not really helpful for me just to keep going, and not actually saying anything. But that must have been a close LBW call, and that should have been a run out.
I think it conveyed the confusion of the situation there as Baker comes in and bowls to Kelly, who takes the outside half of her bat, safely though into a gap at cover, and she adds another one of the total required. 6 more needed for victory now. 133 for 5. The Blaze well in control of this game. 2 balls of the penultimate over remaining. And Glenn here really just swing and try and find a boundary and just put it beyond all doubt. And if not, leave it to Marie Kelly in the final over. Here comes Baker. She bowls to Glenn, who's down the track and will hit mid-off with a drive that didn't really go where she wanted it. Kind of got cramped for room in the end. 133 for 5 under the sunny skies here in Birmingham. A little bit of a chat mid-pitch. Kelly's probably saying, just have a whack at this and we'll look after whatever's left if you depart as a result.
A bit of a conflab in the field as to what to do on this last ball.
Yeah, long discussions again between Davis and Georgia Davis and Eve Jones, who seem to be the brains trust that meet with the bowler. Here comes Hannah Baker. Bowls to Glenn, who's going to try and hit it down the ground. Will hit it down the ground. Beats the dive of Georgia Davis. 4 runs. That leaves 2 to win from the final over. And Marie Kelly not out on 88 on strike. That was exactly what Kelly probably came down the pitch to say to Sarah Glenn. Can you find a boundary, please? And if you don't, get a 0 or a 2.
I think that is pretty much what she said. You've got a free hit here, and then then we've got the last over. So that settles everybody's nerves. Because it doesn't matter how easily you think you are winning. If you still, even if you just need 6 off the last over, you still think, oh, we could lose this from here. Pressure's such a funny thing, but hit that 4 and all that pressure goes.
Yeah, it's well hit by Sarah Glenn through
was.
mid-off, advancing down the track. It's what she was looking for, the ball before, actually, to be fair to her, and so she didn't change her plan much at all. Emily Arlett then is going to bowl the final over of the game, but she's only got 2 to defend, which seems unlikely to say the least. 20 for 1 so far from her 18 balls, including the maiden over, so she'll be relatively happy with those figures, I would imagine, at the moment. She knows at worst she's only going to have a few more runs added to those. She could go for 1 and then 6, couldn't she? Would probably be the worst outcome. So 7's probably the most that she could concede here.
It's interesting though, isn't it? So that first 2 overs, I think, there was the wicket, obviously the first ball, no runs. And then really since then, I think it's been very difficult for Sparks to keep any pressure on this batting innings. It has felt that, that the Blaze have been able to sort of relatively straightforwardly work their way through these 20 overs.
And they've effectively chased it in 19 overs with
9
wickets, because they were none for 1 at the end of the first over, and Sparks were none for none at the end of the first. As this one is cut into the offside, and Perrin is there. They're going to go for a tight single, and Marie Kelly might have been thinking halfway down the pitch there, what have I done? Because she had to dive for a ground to make her 89th run and take the scores level.
Not sure whether actually she might have been better throwing the other end. There might have been more chance of the wicket, and obviously dot ball, all of that, but split seconds. She's fielded very well today. Yeah,
she's been very impressive with Davina Perrin, and looks like she has a lot of talent. Everybody's in on the one now. They're around about 12 yards away from the bat, all the Sparks players, as Emily Arlett comes in to bowl to Sarah Glenn, who's going to hit this one uppishly, and had it been a conventional cover, it probably would have been the easiest catch in the world, but instead it's going to roll away towards the rope and stop just inside it, but it matters not, because Marie Kelly and Sarah Glenn have switched places, and the target of 139 is reached. So a 5-wicket win for the Blaze, who will go into finals day top of the group. South East Stars second. Southern Vipers, who beat them today, will be third. And the Central Sparks will be fourth in the table. So it will be Blaze versus Sparks as it was today again at Derby. And it will be South East Stars versus Vipers as it was again on finals day. Barbara Daniels, your final thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting game, particularly with the knowledge of what's going to be happening on Saturday. Sparks will feel they were 15 to 20 runs short in the batting, and that they missed some key opportunities here in the field. Blaze, you can see they are an impressive outfit. It is clear why they've done so well, I think, across the whole of this particular competition. But yeah, they'll still have to play well, to make it to beat Sparks in the semi-finals. You never know what can happen, in those one-off games like that. But no, it's been an interesting game to watch. Some good cameos, very good innings there from Kelly to be 89 not out on how many balls in the end was that? She's really taken her own back on on her origin club, on the Sparks, really.
Yeah, 63 balls in the end for the 89. Our thanks to Barbara Daniels for her thoughts today. We will be bringing you the remaining games in the Rachel Hayes Flint Trophy as well. So do make sure you join us for those. Quick run through of the card then. Scores of 37 from Davina Perrin, 39 from Abby Freeborn, and Amy Jones's 36 helped Sparks to a score of 138 for 8. 2 wickets apiece for Kirsty Gordon, Heather Graham and Josie Groves in that first innings of this game. So that left 139 for the Blaze to win in reply. It was built around Marie Kelly's innings of 89 off 63 balls. She finished not out. Teresa Graves was out off the first ball of the reply, caught by Courtney Webb off the bowling of Emily Arlett. But it was the partnership between Kelly and Catherine Bryce which really put the dent in the total. They took the score to 106 before Catherine Bryce was stumped by Abby Freeborn of the bowling of Grace Potts. Just seemed to pop up off the pad of Catherine Bryce, who'd rather lost her bearings, and that allowed Freeborn to effect the stumping. Sarah Bryce came in and made 3 before being caught by Abby Freeborn off the bowling of Georgia Davis. Heather Graham was bowled by Caris Pavley for 3 as well, and Ella Claridge came in and made a pressure easing 10 off 5 balls before being caught by Davina Perrin at backward point off the bowling of Hannah Baker. Left Sarah Glenn not out on 5, hitting a boundary in that innings off the final ball of the penultimate over again to ease the pressure, and it meant that Marie Kelly was able to guide her team through with 89 off 63 deliveries. The bowling figures, bit of a spread really. Emily Arlett 3.2 overs, 1 maiden, 22 for 1. Grace Potts 16 for 1 from her 3. 2 overs for Caris Pavley, 18 for 1. 27 for 1 off Georgia Davis's 4 overs. Hannah Baker 34 for 1 off 4 overs. Katie George 2 overs, 14 without loss. And Courtney Webb bowled 1 over, 7 for no reward. A 5-wicket victory then for the Blaze here at Edgbaston. These sides head to finals day at Derby to meet again. We will see you soon.